Hello, Atlanta. It's the Southern hospitality, the die-hard fans, and the red Georgia clay that kicks off a great round 8 of Supercross action. Ryan Dungey is holding tight to that red plate, but Ken Roczen is only 12 points back. Atlanta has been good to the German, but tonight could be all about the rookies. Who's next to grab their first win? Jason Anderson, Blake Baggett, or Cole Seeley? KTM had us seeing orange in Arlington as Marvin Muskin dominated the day with a perfect 250 East Premier. But is defending champion Justin Bogle about to break his streak? They call it the loudest venue in the land. Get ready for a wild sellout crowd to rock the duel in the Dome. Hello everyone, welcome to Race Day Live on SupercrossLive.com. We are here inside the Georgia Dome. It's already round 8 of the 2015 Monster Energy AMA Supercross Series and FIM World Championship. It doesn't get any better than this, folks. This is arguably the biggest Supercross of the year. I'm your host, Andy Boyer, and beside me, as always, is Jim Hollywood Holly, former factory Yamaha rider and Supercross legend. Welcome to the show, folks.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Andy. I'm glad to be on that East Coast. We've had enough out west. We kind of moved to Arlington last weekend there, but you know, I really enjoy this, and I enjoyed myself when I was racing here in Atlanta, although it was in the Fulton County Stadium, and it was cold back then. It's cold. I'm sure the guys are happy they're inside of a dome here, but I think the track's going to lend itself to some great racing. It always does traditionally. A lot of first-time winners here in their career get their wins here in the Georgia Dome, and like you said, with that red clay, it's soft. We're going to have a ruddy track, and the thing that I like is back-to-back, I'm hanging back here all week on the East Coast. I figured, you know, why jump on a plane and go back to the West Coast? I'm going to enjoy a little Southern hospitality here on the East Coast.
Stick around for the duel in the Dome. We're going to give away a trophy to the rider that accumulates the most points in the 450 class between the 2 Atlanta rounds. You know, why have 2 Atlanta rounds? I'll give you a lot of reasons.
Why not?
Right. Yeah. This is the hub of the South. You know, we have Kentucky, Alabama, North and South Carolina, Florida, of course, Tennessee, Ohio. They're all been salivating, waiting to see a Supercross live. Here it is. It's the Big Daddy. We're going to almost sell this place out this week and probably next week. And the track is amazing. This arguably might be the best track we've seen all year. Let's go ahead and take a look at the track.
Well, we're going to look at that track map. Like you said, the gate's going to drop here, and something interesting here in Atlanta. It's a pretty long straightaway going into that first turn. You're going to sweep into that sweeping left-hander, and you want to make sure you get that hole shot to pick up some extra cash from SupercrossLive.com. Right away, you're going to get into a timing section. If you can triple into this corner, carry that momentum around, opportunity to pass. If you can get underneath someone here, up and over the 65 triple. Here is what's interesting here. Are we going to see some of the guys? We've seen them triple and then double. Maybe someone will do a quad. This is a pretty humongous triple also. On the other side, a right-hander. This is a split lane. You either can go to the left or the right. And I don't know, a lot of guys are favoring. We've watched that free practice to the right-hand side. Right out of that, it's a little dragging back up and then a dragging back down. On this side, you're going to see the guys are tripling it. Then it's going to be a step on, step off. A 180 left-hander with that wall jump. Don't be behind anybody when they grab a handful of roost. Backwards down the starting line straightaway into a little bit tighter corner up and over that Monster Energy finish line, and that's a lap here on February 21st in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, that was a good look at the track. You know, a topic we're going to be talking about the whole show is this red Georgia clay. And right now, you know, they're about 3 or 4 practices into this thing, and the track is in excellent condition. It's got a little bit of a harder dry base, but they keep watering it throughout the day. You know, the ruts aren't too bad. The corners look excellent, and it just looks great.
Well, we got a chance yesterday when we were here on the track. We got a chance to watch some of the Dirtworks guys in the Feld track crew do a great job on preparing this and getting the water in. The key is not to get too much water in because, like I said, we're in a dome and we're not going to have any ventilation, no sun, things like that to dry it out. But I think it's going to make for great racing, and traditionally it has here in Atlanta. Like I said, a lot of first-time winners. I'm kind of pulling for Davey Millsaps. He won back here on the Honda in 2008, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. I already got goosebumps. We got a huge show for you folks today. We have some really exciting guests. First up, we're going to have Justin Brayton come talk to us for a little bit. Justin's had a really long, awesome career. Came up through the arena cross ranks. Made a name for himself with a lot of podiums. He currently rides for the factory-backed BTOsports.com team. going to be fun to talk to Justin. And we're also going to have, the people's champion, Adam Enticknap, one of the most hard-charging privateers out there. He's trying to get into those main events. Very charismatic, a lot of personality with that guy.
He raps.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I saw Steve Mathis from Pulp MX had a little CD of he raps, and he's got a good fan base, a following with the 7 Deuce Deuce. Adam,
big guy too.
He could probably play for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, definitely looks like. And also, we're going to have Mike Alessi come join us. Mike's always been an outdoor specialist, but recently, man, he's pulling hole shots, riding at the front. Mike Alessi is sticking around. He's got a bum knee. He's showing us how to ride Supercross.
Well, the thing that I like, and it happened last year, is Mike Alessi, even though he's been around a long time, he is still learning in Supercross. He'll tell you that. He's got a heat race win last year, and he's got a couple of them this year. So, I mean, he's going in the right direction. I'd just like to see a few more top 10s for him. I'd like to see a few more hole shots from him, because he's kind of been lacking in that department.
Right, yeah. The KTMs have been stealing all the hole shots, Andrew Short. But it's going to be good to have Mike Alessi. Also, very special guest with Roger DeCoster, 5-time world champion. The Man. When you have a nickname called The Man, you're pretty cool. So it's going to be exciting. That's our guest list. Can't wait to have them all up here to join me and Jim. It's going to be a good show. We want to thank all you guys for tuning in all over the world, our international viewers. Send us some photos. Use the hashtag Supercross on Fox, Race Day Live, Supercross Live, and let us know what you're doing. Send us some good stuff. We'll put you on the front of our website.
You mentioned that. We have a new viewer watching, Nancy Payne, and she was a big women's motocross racer back in the 70s and the early 80s, and she's watching Vicky Golden. She's hoping Vicky Golden can get in that top 40 and be the first woman to compete in Supercross. So we want to welcome Nancy Payne to viewing. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I spoke with Vicky on the track walk. She's in a great mood and feels good about the track. Kind of similar to last weekend as far as the layout's concerned, and even the dirt's a little bit familiar. But me and Jim were down there looking at these 2 interesting sections. Check them out. Race Day Live with Danny Boyer and Jim Hawley. We're down here on the track inside the Georgia Dome. The Feld track crew keep pulling out these obstacles that make these tracks really, really interesting. Jim, we got a split whoop section here. Break it down for us.
Well, if you look at it on your side, you come out of that right-hander, you got a double, and you carry that momentum in. You got these gnarly set of whoops, and at the end, you got another little double. If you want to hang to the inside and you don't want to take that double, carry that speed, get into the whoops, but then you got to deal with the double after that into that right-hander. I think if you're a rider, you got to go out here, Andy, and you got to practice. One lap you got to be on the left-hand side, the other lap you got to be on the right-hand side. And just, I think that this will be a good passing lane, because if you look at it and you get a bad start, saying you're 5th, 6th, or whatever in that main event, top 5 guys go to this left-hand lane. You could possibly go here in this right-hand side, maybe pick up a guy. And not only that, you got the inside now. Maybe you do a little bumping on that right-hander out of the whoop section.
Another prime aspect of this racetrack is the dirt, the awesome Georgia clay. All the riders always rave about the dirt. Now, in a split rhythm section like this, predominantly one side's going to be favored more than the other, and it's going to break down. So later in the main event, Jim, do you think that's going to become a factor and see guys switching this thing up a little?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why, like I was talking about earlier, that, you got to try both sides, and you got to try, you got the inside, the middle, the outside, and same on this other lane. There's 6, 7 different lines here, and like you said, as the main event wears on, the track is going to start to deteriorate, so you better have options when you go through this set of whoops.
Now, this is just one awesome part of the track. We're going to take a walk over to the other side and check out another obstacle. All right, folks, Jim and I have made our way to the complete opposite side of the stadium from that awesome whoop section we just looked about. Now, here we have the 65 to 70-foot triple, but that's not what makes this section interesting, Jim. Tell us about it.
Well, I think, Andy, the Feld track crew, they always do a good job on kind of throwing in different things. And what they've thrown in after the triples, you're going to see it's about a 4-foot elevation change from here to this side where it goes down to 0. I think if I'm the guys, I might go on the left-hand side of this part and maybe possibly quad in and then single into that right-hander. But, for another passing lane, maybe somebody's going to double this and then quad in from the inside. You never know. But also something else that, what looks good on paper and they lay it down on the track, not necessarily works at all times. So sometimes they have to alter the track a little bit, but this is going to be a tough section here in the Georgia Dome.
Well, folks, the riders always talk about passing opportunities. In between the whoop section that Jim and I just spoke of and this awesome section right here, there's going to be a lot of passing. There's going to be a lot of action. Like Jim said, tune into Race Day Live for practice and qualifying to see how these racers attack these 2 sections.
What's up? I'm David Millsaps with Monster Energy Kawasaki, and you're watching Race Day Live.
Horsepower, bulletproof wear protection, and consistent clutch feel for the confidence you need to get on it, get after it, and stay out front. AMSOIL, out front performance. Visit amsoil.com/dirtbike to learn more. And welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Andy Boyer, Jim Hawley. Man, you know, let's go ahead and go back to last weekend. And KTM dominated both main events. You know, we had Dungey doing heel clickers. Dungey's feeling it, man.
Well, and that's where you look at it. You know, when I saw that and the heel clicker off Dungey, I think, man, this guy's having fun. He's enjoying himself. I mean, but the other hand, Marvin Musquin, now he's got that red background. He gets the win, the opener there in Arlington, and had a perfect night. I mean, he had the fastest time. He had the fastest heat, won his heat race. You know, we paid him $1,000 at supercrosslive.com for that whole shot.
Yeah.
He leads all 15 laps to that main event. He does a heel clicker, so you know what? Hey, Dungey, hey, I'm not too old. I'm not too frail to do a heel clicker, but he's having fun right now, and he's got a 12-point lead, so we'll see. But they're kind of following, you know, it's like a tennis match. They're going back and forth on these points. We'll see if Ken Roczen can win here tonight, and maybe Dungey gets a third. He'll get that you know, 5 points you know, a lead. But if you look at it,
There's our points right there.
Yeah, you look at you know,
23 back to Canard, you know, behind Roczen. And then it's a ways back to Tomac, Jason Anderson, and Cole Seeley, but they're not out of it by any means. You know, anything can happen we've seen this season. Roczen wins 2 out of the first 3, has, you know, his misfortune at Oakland. Now Dungey's won 2 out of the last 3. The thing is, you know, look back at Dungey. I just researched his finishes here in the Georgia Dome going back to 2010. He wins in 2010, follows it up with a second, follows it up with another win in 2012, gets a 4th in 2013, and then last year he's on the podium in 3rd.
Well, and the thing, I even went back a little further in that 250 class. He got his first win here in the 250s back in 07. So the Georgia Dome has been good.
Very good
to
to
Ryan Dungey.
Yeah.
We're going to look at here at, and I got to hand it to Nathan. See how he put the red background for Marvin Musquin there with that win last weekend. And then I thought Justin Bogle, I thought he rode really well last week. You know, it's been a long time since we've seen him. I mean, you know, you can lose the championship in that first one, and then how about the man in 3rd, Joey Savacci?
Where'd he come from?
For the Mitch Payton Pro Circuit Kawasaki team there. And you're going to look at the other guys behind, you know, Jeremy Martin there, and then behind him, Matt Lemoyne put in a great ride. And Vince Freeze is lucky to be in 6th right now, and I'm just going to throw it out there because, I mean, what he did in that sketchy, you know, he got landed on in the main event. He gets a great start, and then just everybody just kind of toppled on him. But, you know, those guys had to deal with a little adversity last weekend with that red flag halfway through. They had to restack them back up again. I don't know if it was lap 7 or 8, but pretty much the halfway point, and got a chance, you know, Tonus, it gave him an opportunity to get right back in and have some pretty good finishes. But
he was he was also, you know, battling for the fastest qualifier early in the day. You know, that was another guy. He comes here from Switzerland, and you know, we know about him in the GPs over there, but never seen him ride a Supercross track. He shows up. You know, Mitch Payton told me, he goes, "Hey, Tonus, look out for him. He's got that French riding style. He's a he's a Swiss guy, but he kind of has that Michael Pichon and Christophe Pourcel effortless looking style." Those 2 guys under Mitch's awning are pretty under the radar. Savacci's been gone for a year, and now he comes back and bangs out a podium. You might want to look out for the Monster Energy Pro Circuit squad. You know, Musquin, he might be the heat here in this field, but it was just 1 race. You know, look at Jeremy Martin. Doesn't even make the main event.
Well, and the other thing, too, you talk about, you know, first-time winners here, and I went back and did a little homework in the 250 class, and, I mean, you know, guys getting their first wins here.
Yeah, wow.
You know, Josh Grant in 06, Dungey in 07, Canard in 08. You had Martin Davalos last year get his first win in that 250. The year before that, Hahn, Wilson in 2011. Ricky Carmichael.
First win.
He's down in Tampa right now. We're going to talk to him on Skype later on, but 97, he gets his first win. Then I'm going to go back a little earlier to some of my guys that I used to race with. Eddie Warren, Keith Turpin, 85, 86, Denny Stevenson in 90 there, Doug Henry in 93, and John Dowd in 96. So, I mean, if history's going to present itself, we could see a first-time winner here in that 250 class, and how cool would it be to have Mr. Tonus get that?
Well, you talk about history, Jim. You know, let's go back to 1989 in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. It's cold. We have 10 guys. Look at it. Look at that. You know, we only got 28,000 people there. The track looks kind of crazy, but this is one of the best races in Supercross history.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to look at this one here. You're going to see there's O'Mara, number 20 there, number 1. Lachine wasn't number 1 then, but number 1 was Rick Johnson there. You're going to see Jeff Stanton, number 7 out there, and these guys just went at it back and forth. I mean, and you got to remember that, you know, here's the Stanton battle with Ricky Johnson going there.
Watch it, Ricky. Oh!
Tried to, I know what Ricky was doing. He went to try to square up underneath, grabbed too much front brake, lost it, but he kept the bike running. Here's the good thing. These guys are all on 2 strokes right now.
Right.
You know, 4 strokes nowadays, but here comes the checkered. Stanton was happy with that win right there.
Yeah, first win, you know. It's crazy. That was one of my favorite races growing up as a kid. I rewound that thing 100 times watching those guys. But we're here back in the Georgia Dome. You can hear the bikes behind us. We're going to go check out some action on the track here in a little bit. There we go. We have 250B qualifying number 1. Whoa.
Oh, a little bumping and grinding going on already.
Okay, we've already seen them, Jim, repair that wall jump. You know, they're coasting over that and then really roosting down the backside. If you don't want to be behind somebody directly behind them going to that obstacle at all.
No, I got a chance earlier when we were watching some of the free practices, some of the A guys in that 450 class, just, you know, you want to stay out of the roost there. Came up a little short on that one. I'm trying to look and see who that rider is there. It looks like 359. I'm not 100% sure.
355 there is Jeremy Taylor from Ohio.
Look at Taylor. Now see, I'm not a big fan of this. If I'm Jeremy Taylor's mechanic, he went around the whoops because the whoops here in Atlanta are real treacherous. Like we said, you're going to watch Taylor. He'll enter in again. He went around it, but hey, this is time practice. You got to go through those whoops every time. I mean, you can't do it in a heat race.
Right.
You can't pull around and go around them, or a last chance, or the main event. So you might as well get used to them, boys.
That's it. There's Brady Kiesel. Number 89 comes to us from Fort Worth, Texas. He lists K1 speed, BWR engines, SSI decals, Alias, and 100%, and Shoei helmets as his sponsors. Had a pretty decent weekend last weekend in Arlington. There's a cycle
there's that
trader,
triple
Rock River,
double as we're watching. We thought maybe someone in the 450 might quad it. There's that big triple. Kiesel goes to that inside in the whoops right there. It seems like a lot of guys are favoring that. They want to get into the whoops, and then you're going to do a little double right here, and then get into the right-hander.
That's Nick Desiderio, one of the Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha guys over there that Christina Denny manages. Getting around the track pretty good. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, check out the dirt. A little bit slick going into that corner, but look how much traction coming out of the corners. It's almost like brownie cake. It's perfect out there right now.
Yeah, you're going to see a little rut starting to develop right there in that left-hander there. There's this timing section here where, you know, a couple riders in the way, so you got to, that's the hard thing about it. We talk about it. Guys are pulling off, you know, and it just kills your momentum out there. I mean, he wasn't able to come out of that corner and do the triple.
So far, the top 5 here are Jace Owen, Nick Gaines, Ryan Zimmer, Stewart, Desiderio, and Kilbarger's in top 6, Levi Kilbarger. But I think we have a red flag. We have a rider down over here after the rhythm section. So
yeah, hopefully he's okay. So we're going to go with the real red flag like we had last weekend. We talked with Vicky Golden again, and you know that's so hard to. You just kind of get out there and you just get going. You get a couple minutes, and then you got a red flag like that. Hopefully the rider will be okay and he'll be able to get back with us. But you know, you talk about it, Andy. You rode and you've been in some situations where there's a red flag out there. It's just
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's just a bad deal all the way around. But hopefully these guys will be okay, and you know, they can get back out there. But you talk about a guy like Ryan Zimmer. Hopefully next weekend we'll have him you know, up here on the show with us. You know, Ryan Zimmer there, and it's good to see him. You know that you know, a new team for him. I was talking to him a little bit, and you know, there's a couple other guys out there that are really true privateers, and you know, we're going to do some stories with those guys.
Very cool story, that you told me about earlier. We can't wait to tell you guys about that. Once again, we believe we have a number out there. I think that was number 244, Ryan Zimmer. He's still down right now, but we're going to keep you updated on that. Keep your thoughts and prayers with him. You know, Jim, I just remember, you know, when you're out there, Supercross is tough enough, and you get scared just on your own, and then something like this happens. I always personally, Jim, I would just block it out. Just block it out.
You have to. I mean, the only bad thing though is it's hard to block it out if it's a friend of yours. You know, that's the thing. I mean, if me and you were racing,
it was always our friend.
And it was Andy that went down, man, I'm going to go to Andy. All right, man. You know, I just couldn't sit around wait. You know, I mean, I've had guys, friends of mine race with, and we saw that last year with Ken Roczen when Chad Reed went down in San Diego. Ken Roczen after the race.
Oh yeah.
You know, he didn't go back to the truck or to the podium or wherever. He went right away to Chad Reed, his friend, and hey, y'all, are you okay and stuff. And I mean, that's just the camaraderie that these guys have out here. You know, they feel for the guy, and hopefully he's going to be okay.
It's like we had a similar situation last weekend. I remember once you get going again after the red flag, you can kind of see the footsteps and the footprints of where the scene of the crime was, and you're just kind of like, ugh, every time you go by that section. But hey, that's why this is Supercross. That's why we're so passionate about it. You know, it's something that gets in our blood, and it stays there. This is the real deal. You know.
Well, and the other thing, something else that's in your blood.
Okay, we need to update you folks. It's not Ryan Zimmer that went down. It was Chris Plouffe.
Yeah, because Zimmer's on a Yamaha, and when that bike was going off, I kind of saw the number Chris Plouffe from Castaic, California. I know Chris and his mom and dad and everything. Hopefully he'll be fine. I know Robert Kelly's probably listening in, and but you were talking about in your blood, something that's in your blood, NASCAR racing. Your brother, Clint Boyer, going for obviously the biggest win of his career, the Daytona 500, the start of their season.
Yeah, it's that time of year. You know, little brother, he has a good car. He had some bad luck earlier in the week and destroyed a couple of his race cars in qualifying and practice. But it turns out his third car might be the best one yet. Finished 5th in his duel, and he'll line up 9th place tomorrow. As soon as I get home tomorrow morning, I'm driving over there to Rudy Mon, man. It's a little nerve-wracking, but little brother can get it done. He'll be fine.
You were down there all week during qualifying, right?
Yeah. The Budweiser duels took place on Thursday, so I went over there, and we didn't know if he was going to get in the race. So, yeah. But anyways, good luck to him. Thank you for mentioning that. You know, but here in Atlanta, you know, I always think of history, and we saw that '89 race. 1 year later, arguably an even better race, you know, busts out with the bigger battles and takeouts and crashes and maybe first-time winners. You know, and again, our sentimental favorite, Guy Cooper. You know, the fastest rider, in my opinion, never to win a race is Guy Cooper, and as we're going to see here in a little bit. This was a knock.
I like the 32nd board. You know, nowadays it's changed, but you're going to see the guys lined up. There's Cooper, number 4 on the outside. He must have had to come through the last chance race to get that started.
Watch out here. Oh.
That was Kudrowski taking out Bradshaw there, but now he's got the banners, and you know what happens.
Jim?
It's in your brakes. You have no brakes. He's going to come up to this next corner. Let's see. It's coming up here, and RJ, I think, is right behind him, number 13, and RJ is going to try to go over around him. And
now Kudrowski's got a lot of speed. Oh.
Yeah, he don't have no brakes now. He goes over and hits the.
There's Matasevich.
Those were back in hay bales back then and stuff. But Kudrowski, number 11, they're picking up. But here's the battle. There's Wardy making a nice block pass on RJ. He tries to square back underneath, but they're all going after Cooper. Wardy in second now, going after Cooper.
Yeah, I remember. This is another VHS tape I had, where just wearing it out, you know,
you
watching
put it on
over
a CD
and over.
So you can keep
I know.
watching it.
I wanted Cooper to win this one so bad that I don't think we show it in this clip.
But look at the crowd, though.
There's the triple fist pump by Wardy.
Cooper, he was pumped.
You know,
he got a bad start and kind of worked up through the pack and had some help with Kudrowski and some of the other guys having some problems. But Wardy came away with that win in
all the guys led
1990.
like 8 different leaders that, you know, and that hasn't gone away. The spirit of the Battle of Atlanta is still here. You know, in 2011, you remember this, James Stewart and Chad Reed are going at it big time. Last lap, Chad Reed somehow scrubs the triple, goes inside of Stewart, takes them both out in a pickup pass. James stands on his bike and tries to hold him down, and who wins the race? Do you remember? Ryan Villapoto.
Ryan Villapoto, yeah.
Right.
But also on the other side, I mean, I remember here Ryan Villapoto when he's going for championships, crashing and getting
the dirt
stuffed into his exhaust, you know, and his silencer there. But I mean, this all started back in March 5th, 1977. You talk about the 89, 90s, you're watching it. Well, I'm watching my buddy Bob Hurricane Hanna win his first. I wasn't a pro at that time, but just watching and saying, look, I want to be a part of this, and I was. And the other thing is, you know, we raced in the Fulton Fulton County Stadium from 77 to 92. Bradshaw won here in 92, and then they come into the new dome, and Bradshaw, the beast from the East, he wins again in 93 again. So there's the guys, they're just kind of waiting around. They got Chris Pluth is being taken off now by Dr. John Bogner's with him in the Asterix Mobile Medical Unit. Hopefully he's going to be okay, but he's in good hands, and these guys will get ready to be fired up here in a couple minutes. But just a lot of, you know, Mark Barnett's one here. I mean, I remember some of the in the mud. That was that mud race was horrible. But,
they say it's the worst one. You know, in recent years they'll say, "Wow, I think that was the muddiest race I've ever seen," and all the old school guys like you are like, "Oh no, Atlanta."
Well, and here's the thing about it. You got to remember in those days, the Feld track crew nowadays, if it rains in one of these outdoor races, I mean, they got the pumps, technology, things like that.
Right.
Everything's evolved since in the 80s or the late 70s or whatever, so they can get the tracks in pretty good condition. Back then, it was just pouring rain. There's nothing you can do. You
put on a poncho and go for it, right?
You just, yeah, I mean, goggles, what are you talking about? As soon as you left the start line, you went in the first turn, the goggles were gone, you know, the tear-offs back then, the roll-offs or whatever, those were gone. It was just survival of the fittest, and, you know, Mark Barnett was one of the toughest guys out there. And
the bomber.
I admired Mark Barnett. I remember when I first turned pro, we were in Texas at an outdoor, and he got off so hard that his handlebar, the throttle arm, was bent right next to his fork leg. So it looked like when he was riding, he was hanging onto his fork leg, but that's how bad. That guy, I mean, he still won. He won the championship that year, but you always hear it. I mean, I know it's an old cliche, but you win your championships on your bad day, and that was a bad day for Mark Barnett, but he didn't quit.
No
he
way.
Still kept riding, and talk about, you know, arm pump. I mean, think about that, holding on down there, and he still finished. Back then, there were 45-minute motos.
Generation. You guys were gnarly, man. It was gnarly. You guys were tough.
Well, now these guys are gnarly. I mean, for what we had, we were gnarly, but in our day. But these guys are gnarly in their day, because look at there again. We talk about the evolution of the motorcycle, the tracks, things like that. These guys, I mean, that 250 out there was way faster than my
factory 250
probably.
two-stroke.
It's just. And a different riding style, different.
It's changed. Everything's changed. You know,
I go out riding now, and I try a scrub, and I'm going, there's no way I can scrub this thing. I don't know how these young kids do it.
I don't either. We got him fired back up here at 250B, qualifying number 1. So far, the top 5 is still Jace Owen, Nick Gaines, Ryan Zimmer, Stewart, Desiderio, and Kilbarger 6th. I'm sure that's going to shuffle up here with almost 7 minutes to go. The track's good, and you know, we're going to talk about it a lot. There's people already filing in, and it's always a good sign when we have a lot of people watching practice. I think we're going to have close to a packed house tonight. It's going to get loud.
There's that split lane, a few of the riders going to the right, a few going to the outside on the left there. We'll have to see if our cameraman, Dave Arnold, can pan out and just exactly see, you know, so the people watching can get a sense of, you know, what lane they think's faster.
Dave can do anything. He'll get it done. There's a Husky out there still. That is, we were just talking about him. We're number 355. That is Jeremy Taylor from Ohio. The Ohioan. I believe that works, doesn't it? Ohioan?
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on him, because I'm sure his mechanic during that little break said, hey, buddy, what are you doing going around the outside of the whoops? That's the shot right there. We want to hold that for a minute and watch some of the guys go through the whoops, because you can kind of get a sense on how long that is and how difficult those whoops are.
They're big too, and they're getting cupped out. You know, they're holding together better than I thought, but the water, you know, packed them in pretty good. But look at that.
Yeah, see, 4 of the guys, 5, 6, they've all went down there. You guys got to start moving to that left. You got to start making that left work.
Right, they're all on the right side. There's something to be said for that too. You know, on the left side, you got a double going in, and then you got a double going out on the right. I don't think the guys are liking the double going in and not being able to set up.
Well, the key word right there, Andy, was set up.
Right.
You got to remember that if you're doing a double, your suspension's collapsing on landing and then rebounding up. But these guys like to get that suspension level and then kind of actually pick up a little bit when they hit that first one, and then roll the throttle on as they go through the whoops. But you still got to deal with the double on the outside. I like the inside because it's setting me up. If I'm going to pass a guy on the inside, I got the inside lane to push somebody up.
You know, like you were talking, Jim, I saw 2 guys standing over there, so they're not going to be going around him anymore. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And again, Jeremy Taylor here on the Husqvarna. Jeremy lists his sponsors as Real Ink Graphics, south of the border. That's a training facility, and Razor Images and Race Tech.
There's those Dragon Back that we talked about.
Yeah, back-to-back Dragon Backs. You know, like I said, I think this is one of my favorite tracks of the year, but it's tough. This is a tough track. You know, in the beginning of the season, there were kind of some grins and groans about, you know, some complaints. Well, this track's too easy. Well, they're not easy anymore. Look at these whoops right here. Kiesel.
Yeah, very hard to get up on top and carry that momentum through.
Very hard, yeah. And they're going to get worse. That's the thing about it. This is as good as they're going to get. The more riders hammer those things out and the more they cup them out, they're going to get chewed up. It'll be interesting to see exactly how much, you know, they fix them when they go to do the track prep. We'll see how much they roll them.
Yeah, and that's also going to depend on seeing the battle here, going through the whoops there. That was a good line right there.
Yeah.
But it depends on how rutted up the other parts of the track are. If it's not too ruddy and the guys get a chance to go over there and kind of work on the Feld track crew, get a little bit of time to go over there and work on the track, then they'll do it by all means. Got about 3 minutes and 12 seconds left. Another rider off to the side there. You're going to see some yellow flags when it comes up here, but a lot of guys having problems with that section there. I'm not sure if they're trying to quad it or not.
That's Keith Tucker right there. He's a new exciting rookie come up. He also came up through the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross in the AMSOIL Arena Cross Series. He's fast. Keith Tucker's a tall kid. He's leading this practice right now.
There's that triple.
Yeah,
he's going to the outside. Let's see. Triple,
double.
And then he's going to double.
Yeah.
Carry that momentum to the outside. Seed hop this next triple. Dive to the inside. Let's get ready for the whoops.
Looks pretty good. Nice and planed out.
Yeah, no, he's riding really well.
Yeah.
And you can see right now,
that's why he's
the fastest. Yeah. You're going to see, I believe that's Nick Gaines with a 53.8. That's obviously he missed the whoops on that lap.
And the 250 practice number one, well, I didn't get any times there, but Canard was the fastest in the first 450 practice, and he has a 49 flat. So these guys are pretty close to that, you know, 3 seconds off, 4 seconds off. Not a bad lap for Keith Tucker right there. But, you know, yeah, like you said, you know, it's a 53.1 and second place is a 53.8. That's almost a second faster, so Tucker's on the gas. He can surprise people. There's a lot of rookies that are kind of unheralded that can do some serious damage in this 250 East.
Well, I think these guys here just want to make sure they're in they get into the night program. Right. You're going to look at Owens and Ryan Zimmer there, 244. Now Levi Kilbarger. He moves up ahead. He's sitting third fastest right now for the 53.8. So a lot of these guys starting to, you know, kind of feel things. But like you said, this is the first of 2 time practices for him, and we got about 1:20 left.
Hey folks, want to win? MMI and AMSOIL have teamed up to give you a chance to win a replica of Kevin Windham's Honda CRF 450R Supercross bike. Go to www.winkevinsbike.com for your chance to win. MMI, the official technical institute of Monster Energy Supercross. And DC Shoes. DC is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of AMA Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes. There's Nick Gaines right there. He showed a lot of speed last weekend, just had some bad luck.
Yeah, and I like that Nick Gaines, you know, when he's not doing this section, he's off to the outside, and he's off to the whoops
sorry to yell
right
there,
now.
folks, ladies and gentlemen at home, but I thought he was going over the trip to Indonesia there through the whoops. That was, whew. He came out of that pretty well, considering. those are by far the toughest whoops we've seen all season.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Nick Gaines last weekend in that heat race with Vince Freeze, he's the one that kind of clipped Vince Freeze in that heat race.
Yeah, I saw his mechanic in the tunnel. I said, hey, that was a little close there, wasn't it? He goes, yeah, sketchy. So that was about as good a word and description as you could come up with, I think. Glad they both came out of that okay.
Yeah, I made a mistake earlier in the broadcast. I thought that was in the main, but that was in a heat race.
All right. That's okay. Yeah, it was pretty spectacular for sure. So we have 0 time left. The checkered flag is out in the 250B qualifying number 1. Keith Tucker's going to be the fastest guy here. He's got a 53.1. Let's give some love to Keith Tucker's sponsors. Doesn't have any listed, but I know he has some Yamaha backing, and By the way, check out the reigning national MX champion Yamaha 250F and 2015 450F 4-strokes at YamahaMotorsports.com today. I want to thank all our sponsors for Race Day Live: Yamaha, MMI, DC Shoes, and AMSOIL, of course. Couldn't do it without them guys. We couldn't do it without you viewers, so thanks for tuning in today. Once again, don't forget to send us some pictures. We got a brand new website at supercrosslive.com. We'll put you right there on the front page and see what you're up to. Let's see your bike. Let's see your garage. Show us some cool stuff, folks.
You look at Keith Tucker there. I know that Frenchie doing his motors along with Preston Mole out there. So, you know, Frenchie building some good stuff because his rider using his equipment at the top of the qualifying in this B practice with a 53.1 there.
We have some exciting guests in the A groups coming up. Stay tuned, folks. And we're back on track here at the Georgia Dome. Thank you for tuning in. Andy Boyer, Jim Hawley. 250C qualifying number 1 on the track right now. We're going to see Vicky Golden again trying to make it into the night show. Came pretty close last weekend, man. I was really impressed with her, to tell you the truth. It's a good effort.
Yeah, I think she, you know, she held great composure. You know, that was the first time on a Supercross track in race conditions, and for her to go out there and, you know, she wasn't in the top 50, but hey, that's okay. She's here this weekend.
That's right. Healthy, had a big smile on her face. We were able to talk to her in, you know, the the track walk interviews, and you know, it's kind of like I told her, I was like, you jumped into the series when the tracks have gotten the most technical. This is a tough track. That's easily the toughest whoop section we've seen all year.
Yeah, you think, you know, for the most part, you're getting a chance to look at her now. She's just kind of going through the whoops, and I think this is good. Hey, you know what? You know, take it one step at a time. Another guy there having some problems. It's 228 there having some problems. I think he actually had some problems 728 as far as starting that motorcycle, so I'm not sure what that is.
That's a bummer. Yeah, and Vicky's just rolling around, loosening up a little bit, trying to find a good gap out there where she's got some space to try to put in a lap.
Right. Well, she's going to come around this corner here, but you know, there comes a time when you're out there that, hey, you got to pull the trigger and you got to start jumping this stuff.
Yeah.
And she's just going at her own pace, which is fine. I think she might try to pick it up here. Let's see what she does here coming out of this corner.
Yeah, like she said, she's ridden press day and had a little time on the track already. So she's going to wick it up right here. Let's see what she's got.
Well, she's not going to do this triple. She's going to roll this triple again on the outside.
Going to wait for the next lap. So,
you know, it's one thing when you're here on press day and you're just kind of by yourself and, you know, you just pull the trigger and you do a jump, but it's a different thing when you got a lot of guys out there with you and you just kind of, oh, don't do it, Vicky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, I guarantee I'd take the chicken exit every time. I don't want to go through those whoops at all, man. But so far, with a little under 7 minutes to go in 250C qualifying number 1, it is number 78, and that is Preston Mole from Livingston, California. He's their fastest rider with a 54.6, pretty respectable lap time right there.
Well, and if it's any indication, you know, he's using Frenchie's motors, and look what Tucker did in the B practice. So, you know, Frenchie's got those Yamahas working good.
They're going to need it tonight, Jim. You know, one thing you talked about on the Kawasaki track map was, look at that start. That's another long start, 2 weeks in a row. So having a good motor is definitely going to help you out there in that category.
Well, I think that, and then the whoops. I mean, you got to remember, you got to have a nice, strong motor to get up on top of those whoops, and great suspension in the whoops. We can't forget about that suspension.
Preston Mole's still your fastest. He's followed by, it looks like, Leininger. 795 Leininger is from Mooresville, North Carolina. He lists Grenade Energy, AG Motorsports, Fly, Rocket Exhaust, and Bell Helmets as his sponsors. Winkler's third, Weischer's fourth, and Huddleston's fifth. With just about 5 minutes to go here in 250C group qualifying. This rhythm section here, Jim, I don't know. They're going to be doing some different stuff here in the A groups. This guy here just tripled through there. I think that's the best way to do it, but.
Yeah, and you're going to look at the times for a Preston Mole of 54.6, and then you're going to see a 59s, and then you're going to get into 1 minute, 101s, 102, 104s, 5, 6, 7.
5 seconds faster than everybody.
Yeah, he's probably next weekend when we come back here to Atlanta, he'll be in that B practice,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure.
And folks, the AMSOIL products that help put folks in the winner's circle are the same products available to you. AMSOIL makes a full line of oils, not only for your power sports toys, but also for your cars and trucks you drive. Choose AMSOIL Performance for any engine.
Yeah, look at the track. I mean, it's so good right now.
It's good and good now. It's still good. Now, not so good. It's tough right through there.
Yeah, but he just threw it all right. I mean,
killed it through there. Yeah,
just
795 right there. It's a Leininger. No more, the old North Carolina boy getting it done.
There's those dragging backs, and then they're using the face of that step on to jump into that corner. Big roost coming off of there. Pretty hard and dry right there. It's real slick right there when you go backwards on the starting line there.
Yeah, it's definitely slick right there going into that right-hander. They'll put some water down and run the tractor over it there a little bit and get it tackened up a little bit. But
a lot of fans here you see kind of filling in, watching practice. They're starting to come in. I mean, this is a big dome here. There's a lot of people watching this practice.
It's a good sign we're going to have a big crowd tonight. When they're here watching practice and qualifying by the thousands, we're going to pack this baby tonight. It's going to get loud. We're going to see an awesome race. It's just exciting to know we're going to be here 2 weeks in a row. I've been coming here personally just as a fan for the last 10 years, driven down from North Carolina, hung out in Olympic Park, and ate at Taco Mac. It's just a fun place to be, a really fun city. We got 2 of them back-to-back, folks. You ask, you receive. 2 big races.
Probably went to some of those parties with Kevin Kelly and David Eisner.
Yeah, to tell you the truth.
They're famous here for their parties before and after the event.
Oh, yeah. I've been to a couple of those for sure. And that was funny because on a school night, I stay home now, Jim. I got to be here and be sharp to sit beside you.
Well, and you got a little one, too.
That's right. Yeah, those days are gone. But the first thing I did when I woke up this morning was text Kevin Kelly. I was like, hey, buddy, how you feeling? So...
426 there. That's my buddy from Dallas, Texas. Huddleston there.
Oh, yeah.
And this is quite a story with him. I mean, this guy worked all week in Dallas. He got up and he got a little bit off work a little bit early on Friday. He drove, all day and all night, got here, slept in the truck. He's riding a privateer bike, and I'm going to try to get him on the show, or if not, on the track walk, do an interview with him, because, I mean, that guy is a true privateer. And I'm going to talk to him about going on the side of the whoops right there. Like I see, you got to go through the whoops. And you're going to see him. He's going to come back in on this right hand. I see him shaking his hand there. His hands, he's getting arm pump. That's the throttle hand. He doesn't want a whiskey throttle. So probably a good idea that he bypassed the whoops. Now he's going to come on. But it is so hard for these guys, I mean, to drive themselves to the races, to sleep in a truck. I mean, I feel so bad. I think I say maybe next week if he doesn't have a hotel, maybe I'll buy him a hotel. I'm going to talk to him. I mean, just I like helping the guys out. I mean, because you can't compete at this level sleeping in your truck. I mean, he's making the sacrifice and stuff, and I'm going to see about maybe trying to get him a sponsorship from Motel 6 or something.
There you go, man. Huddleston, help him out. That's a cool story, Jim. That's one of the things I enjoy doing with you is just kind of walking on track walk and talking to these guys and cruising through the pits. We saw them when we were walking into the pits this morning. They were late, unloading the van out in the cold, and that's what it's all about, man. Before you can be a factory rider, sometimes you gotta do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna watch Huddleston here. Yeah. There you go. That was good. He was all right. Let's see. There you go. He just had a little arm pump that time. He's gonna double in, just kind of maintain. I know Adam Tapia helping him out there in Dallas, and he's a good kid. I mean, he came up and talked to him, and I think these guys can, relate a little bit to everybody out here. I mean, I was one of these guys, sleeping in the truck, and then I became a factory rider, and I've been in some races that, man, I didn't do good, and I didn't have no money, and I'd have to siphon some gas somewhere and get my truck keep going. I mean, you do whatever you can do to get here. He's going to drive back tomorrow morning. He might even try to drive back halfway tonight because he's got to be at work. And then he works. He's got a farm. His parents have a farm. He's got to feed the animals and stuff. And you've been at my house, you and Colleen. There's a lot of work to do feeding horses and goats and pigs and everything.
Well, it's Preston Mole. He's been the boss here in this qualifying 250C group, qualifying number 1. I definitely think we're going to see him in the B group next week. He's got some serious speed with the 54.6.
Well, and Preston Wall is one of these guys that last year he was doing the West Coast, and then I liked he was on the East Coast. He was riding at 450. He knows some of these tracks, so I expect that number 78 to get that motorcycle in the main event tonight.
Yeah, he'd be a good one in there. He looks comfortable out there. Bike looks good. He looks good. Vicky Golden is out there on a heater right now. I'm trying to track her. No, she didn't get around to the triple that lap, so she's still got 2 more chances. We'll keep our eye on her and see if she can.
123 for Vicky Golden. So
yeah,
she's just probably not comfortable with it right now. So, you know, she'll go back. She'll look at some of these other practices, and you know, she'll come back out and she's going to pick it up the next time practice. I guarantee it.
You know, it's funny, Jim. I'm just looking at my notes here, and you know, when you have a rivalry or a conflict, isn't it funny how you always find yourself next to that guy on the track? Looking at the top 5 in the practice this morning before we went live, Canard was the fastest, Tomac was second. Guess who was third?
Dungey.
Chad Reed.
Chad Reed.
Them two. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, Chad's had some good success here, and he's had some bad luck here. With, you know, you talked about when him and Stewart got together, but you know, this is a kind of a hometown race here for Chad Reed. He's in Florida now. I saw him walking the track with young Tate, his son, 4-year-old Tate. And, you know, I talked to Tate. He's such a ham, that guy, man. I told him, hey, I like those videos in opening ceremonies. You know, you're getting some good air and stuff. And I said, hey, are you in school yet? And he corrected me. He says, you didn't see me? I was in school in the video. I said, that's right. You looked at the clock and you were doing, you know, you've got your backpack and everything. So he was quick to tell me that he's in school.
And folks, if you're just tuning in, we are at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Andy Boyer and Jim Hawley are with you. Thank you for tuning in. We got the 250A group coming up here. We're going to see who's the fast guys, of the fastest guys. You know, you see all the way on your left there, Martin Davalos kind of had an unlucky main event last weekend. Didn't get a start, never got to go up front, but he won this, you know,
Yeah, he won his first year last year, but, you know, getting back to Martin Davalos, he's going to try to get out there and put in some good laps right away, but I think he was a little bit overzealous. You know, I looked back at some of the videotapes, and at the beginning of the race, he got into the back of somebody and went down on his own.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he was in the top 6, I want to say, so he was in a good position.
Yeah.
I just think he got a little bit, the nerves might have got the best of him here, but a little short on that. That's not going to be good for the ankles for Martin Davalos.
You know, and speaking of ankles, Matthew Lemoyne went out there and put in a top 5 finish last weekend. His ankles are swollen. He told me, you know, he never even took his boots off because he knew that they were bad news. So at the end of the night, he took his boots off and took a picture on his social media and posted it, and it's ugly, ugly. A tough kid. All these guys are tough.
Well, there's a tough guy, Vince Freeze. He got landed on that heat race.
Yeah, no big deal. Just
came back and got a 6th, you know, and he finished up 3rd in the championship last year for Vince Freeze.
Yeah, he did. He has a pretty good thing going over there with Smart Top MC, you know, the Alessi, Tony Alessi's team over there.
Well, and you mentioned that
Moto Concept, yeah.
Mike Alessi's coming on the team. You might want to ask Mike Alessi, hey, you talk to your teammate about not doing that triple on the heat race there?
Right. You don't want to be rolling the triples in the middle of the pack, that's for sure.
Well, there's a guy that's a little bit disappointed. Not too bad, but he says, man, I don't have that red background like I did last week. So that's over in the KTM camp. I got to get it back this week.
He was closer than everybody else. You know, he rode really well. Marvin Muskin was just on another planet. Bogle can get the job done. He's fast. You know, again, he came into the season with a shoulder injury, and
well, this right-hander, you got a couple of grooves here. You're going to come up and over that triple. You're going to hang to the outside here. Let's see. He's tripling double. Yeah. I think for the 250s, that's going to be the safe way. Let's see where he goes to the whoops. He's going to go to that inside line there and deal with the whoops and then deal with the double afterwards.
It seems about 5 whoops in, Jim, there's a kicker, or one of them's bigger. Are you noticing that?
Yeah.
Boy, tripling on top of that tabletop there.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
This is where it's slick. You're going to see right there, it's slick. And going in there to try and get the braking, it's slick. You'll see another slick spot coming out of that right-hander there.
Yes, sir. The track's going to change.
There's that triple right there.
Triple, double.
Double. That's going to work for you.
Early on in this practice, it is Martin Davalos, your fastest racer. Oh, we got a guy down on the triple here. I think that's Kyle Peters. You guys, I'm sorry, you can't see that at home. I was just looked over my shoulder and saw it. But there's Kyle Cunningham. Oh boy, good to see him out there racing again. He was motionless there for a while.
Yeah, 22nd last week.
Yeah, he had that bad crash into the face of it.
You're going to see that red cross flag. That's why Vince Free is rolling everything right there. There's Kyle Peters, the man you talked about getting off. He's up and he's okay. Actually got his helmet off now. I'm not sure the wind didn't get knocked out of him there. You see Peters right there in your screen, kind of bent over, and the Feld track crew talking to him, but he'll be fine.
Early on in this practice, it is Davalos, Marvin Muskin, Joey Savacci, Justin Bogle, and Vince Friese are your top 5. The rest of the top 10 are Matthew Lemoyne, Mitchell Oldenburg, Jeremy Martin, RJ Hampshire, and AJ Catanzaro is your top 10. There's the Marv attack. Wow, just perfect riding style, excellent form. Just doesn't look like he's trying really hard at all. His lap times are, this is his heater. I'm probably going to guess he's going to go to the top here, Jim.
Well, and I like he's using that far left-hand lane. I think that could be a faster lane. I don't see many people taking it there, but Marvin's on a heater. Let's see if he can move up. He's got a 51.7 right now. I'm sure this is going to be a little bit better than that. Right behind him, you got a glimpse of number 6.
Yeah, Jeremy Martin's been kind of shadowing him on this lap. So let's see what he does here. Bam, right to the top.
Yeah, and if you notice, he's kind of only one of the guys going to that far left-hand side of the whoops. I'm not sure that he doesn't have something working for him.
He's got a lot working for him. You know, he's got just the right amount of experience, tons of talent. He's on the KTM Factory Edition bike, and yeah, all the way to the left, Jim, you're right. Just crushing it over there. Look how good that thing handles through the whoops, too. The rear tire barely moves at all.
He's carrying a lot of corner speed when you get into that right-hander on that line there, because after the whoops, you got that little hump there, but I mean, he's just blitzing it right now. He's trying to break it into the 49s right now.
I'll tell you what, Jeremy Martin might have been faster that lap. Let's see what Jeremy Martin's lap is. He's 15.8.
Yeah, 51.2 for Marvin on that last lap, too. Whoa.
Yeah, Freese there dragging a knee. And folks, your top 5 right now: Marvin Muskin, Martin Davalos, Jeremy Martin, Joey Savacci, and Matthew Lemoyne. Lemoyne's fast again on his privateer effort. Really good to see somebody like that competing against the big, monster teams and doing well. Challenging for podiums.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that you got that nagging injury at the start of the season with your ankles like that. You come up short on something, it just re-aggravates it. It's just so hard to focus.
See him out there on track walk, and I know his ankles are just killed, and he's just walking around like no big deal.
There's RJ Hampshire there, a graduate of the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross. Putting in, looks like he's on a heater right now. And if you look at RJ Hampshire last weekend, a 7th, not bad to start the season.
And he also had a practice crash last weekend. There we go, that's 393, or 390, yeah. That is
Nichols.
Hairline.
Hairline?
Yeah, Daniel Hairline from Ohio.
Oh, I was looking at the other Nichols down there.
It's okay. I didn't have my notes in front of me there. Had to pull a tear off. We'll keep going. Let's see here. Here's AJ Catanzaro coming through at your TV screen. Vince Friese now.
Friese might be on the heater right now. You can just tell by the guys, come on, Vince. Got to get out of that habit and not jump in those triples, buddy.
Agreed.
And now he's off to the side.
There's RJ Hampshire. Baseball player, too. Really good kid. I like his interviews. I like the way he carries himself. Seems to have a lot of confidence. And hey, at this level, you have to have confidence. Once again, your top 5: Marvin Muskin, Martin Davalos, Jeremy Martin, Joey Savacci, Matthew Lemoyne.
Yeah, you mentioned RJ Hampshire there, sitting in 11th. he kind of got a break in between. He was looking around. I think he's going to go on a heater right now and see where he can come up with. Like we said, he's sitting in 11th with a 52.2. So we'll see if he can capitalize on that. Goes to that inside of the whoops. He opts to hit the whoops and
right
they double
there.
out.
Yeah, about 5 whoops in, there's a little bit of a space there.
That yellow flag, come on. That's gonna take the wind right out of your sails.
Whew. Yeah, didn't get that rhythm through there. He's got enough time to run another lap.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna improve on his lap time. I think he's gonna bump up a little bit.
Pretty impressed with Martin Davalos. You know, he comes back to the venue where he wins his first career Supercross last year. He is only 3/10 of a lap faster than Marvin Musquin.
Well, and you watch Marvin, he's up and over that triple. I like Marvin. See, he moved down to that inside. He's moving around. That is a guy that we talked about earlier on the track walk. You got to move around. Inside, on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, there's 6 or 7 different lines through those whoops, and he is trying every one of them right now.
That's right, using the whole track.
And he's racing the track right now. He's racing the guys. He's working on passing guys. He's in a groove right now.
Corner. That's what he's doing. He just destroyed that right-handed corner right there.
But a consistent lap, that last lap of 50.6, his fastest of 50.2, so about 4/10 off of his fastest. I think that's Jimmy Dakotas. I can see how short he is on that motorcycle with the
yellow gear.
Yellow gear there. Jimmy Dakotas, number 49. Let's see how the Ripper gets through the whoops there. He looks good. Did a nice interview with him on Track Walk. You have to check it out on Race Day Live. Very good interview, him and his girlfriend. He didn't get his girlfriend no Valentine's flowers last week.
Oh man, you backed him over again. The Ripper. It was definitely funny, Jim. I'm still chuckling about that. So, you know, hey, Dakotas has got some speed. If he gets his customary hole shot, he could go out there and make some noise.
Yeah, he's on a heater right now. He's 13th. Let's see if that bumps him up any, and it didn't.
Wow, Davalos drops it down in there, a 50.1. As time runs out, Martin Davalos, your fastest rider in the 250 Group A qualifying number 1. There's a statement right there.
Yeah, with Martin Davalos there, I mean, you know, having that little problem getting back up and everything, he still finished 9th. He got 12 points, and if you look at it, you're 13 points out of the championship lead. That's not too bad, but you got to start winning.
And we're going to go down to the podium here a little bit. Ashley's going to be with your fastest qualifier. Should be Martin Davalos. It'd be interesting to see if Davalos can win this thing tonight. You know, it'd be Husqvarna's first win in 20 years. They sure have been getting good starts, those Husqvarnas. You know, Zach Osborne, even over in the Arena Cross series, Kyle Regal been getting hole shots.
Yeah, and the other the other Zach Bell getting a hole shot, having a 5th on that West Coast, the best of his career. That bike's working great.
And there they are, the big dogs, 450 group qualifying A. It's exciting, you know. Davey Millsaps, his home race. It's going to be interesting to see. He's been showing some speed. Had some bad luck still, but you know, number 18 is going to show up and get on the podium here. So here we go.
Roczen Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing, Martin Davalos. Martin, there's something so special about being in Atlanta. What is it about this place?
Well, first off, I consider this my hometown, and I feel like I ride pretty well here. The dirt fits me well. I'm excited to have my whole family, my wife, my brother, my friend here. And you know, practice doesn't mean much, but I feel comfortable today.
How'd you get that fast lap? I know that you had it in the last couple laps right there. What'd you do different?
Well, the track is really technical. It's really slippery, and just a good run through the whoops, and you know, basically a clean lap will put you up there.
Is there anything you're going to change between this qualifying session and the next?
I think so. I think the next practice is going to be a little faster. I'm looking forward. I got to adjust my bike a little better, and it should be good.
Well, congratulations. I know you needed this fast lap time. One more time for that number 47 machine, Martin Davalos on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Racing. We also want to welcome in Supercross Live and a SupercrossLive.com is joining us, and we're going to hit that.
And there's one of our guests right there, Mike Alessi. 450 group qualified number 8.
Well, he had some controversy here last year, him and Brock Tickle getting together. And
got together is one way to put it, but hey, you move on, you make your mistakes, you apologize, you know, get your fine from the AMA, and you know, you go back racing.
Yeah, here he comes into that whoops, opting to go to that inside.
Yeah. You look pretty good.
You know, somewhere I think that Mike Alessi's improved on in his Supercross skills is the whoops.
Absolutely.
If you look at him, you know, in past races, I mean, he's kind of struggled in the whoops, but he got through that set pretty good.
Well, Jim, he's won 2 heat races this year, you know? I mean, he has the speed. He has the confidence in the short races. If Mike Alessi, he got the whole shot and led this thing a couple years ago for 8 or 9 laps. I think once he figures it out that he could do it, he's going to do it. And he's going to land on the podium, and he has the skills. I think he has a good enough bike. He obviously has the starts, you know. It's going to be fun to talk to Mike.
Josh Hill,
right.
Big race for him this weekend. A lot of the Christina Denny from Atlanta, that team over there, the
Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha,
Cycle Trader team. Yep.
Jumping up to the top right off the bat, Cole Seeley, one of the rookies we talked about in the show opening. Maybe he's next. This guy right here, he is
due for a podium.
The gas. 4th place last weekend. You know, Jim, he said he got up to 4th, and he could see Canard, and he kind of made a decision in his head. He said he almost had a crash. He made a big mistake and said, you know what, 4th place is pretty good. Let's settle in here and make it happen. Still kind of weird seeing the number 4 on the Suzuki out there, but Blake's making it work, doing the number proud. Of course, number 4 being the greatest of all times number, Ricky Carmichael.
Well, and you got to go back to that early clip we saw in 1990. There was a number 4 in a Suzuki again, Guy Cooper.
Right. Then 89 was number 4, Ron Lachine. So. You know, I was talking to Blake's dad on track walk. Blake Baggett weighs 137 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong you have to be to weigh that little and be able to hang on to that 450. You know, you don't need muscles, but I guarantee you he's strong. 137 pounds.
Here's a kid that's strong.
Anderson.
A man from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Jason Anderson.
Anderson, you know, came out firing. You know, the runner-up finisher at round 1. Still.
Well, and I got a chance, and we were talking about it earlier. It was a heat race when they had that restart, and Phil Nicoletti, you know, him and Phil got together in a heat race, but I told Phil, I said, Phil, what do you got to be mad about? You know, I mean, you had a couple guys out there, and I was watching the heat race and going, Phil, get in there and run it in there. Anderson probably figured, well, he's not going to do it. I'm going to move him out of the way. And I said, you know, you got it. When you're in this 450 class, you come up on a guy, you don't have time to play with him for 2 or 3 laps. You got to get by him, and if he doesn't leave the door open, sometimes you got to make that door open yourself.
That's it. They weren't too happy with each other.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite hear them screaming, but I could see their helmets moving, and they were not, you know, they weren't happy. All right, folks, with about 5 minutes to go here, it's Eli Tomac, Trey Canard, Davey Millsaps, Cole Seeley, Ryan Dungey. Once again, those 3 Hondas are in the top 5 again.
Millsaps looking good here. Seems like, you know, Martin Davalos, a good friend of his. And
Davey was in position last weekend to get a podium. Maybe not a podium, but he was going to run top 5 for sure. Had an unfortunate incident with Canard bumping his rear tire there and looping him out, but whatever sickness Davey Millsaps had, he's over it. Okay, let's transition to this guy, Andrew Short. Wow, he's having a great season. Pulling hole shots, banging down top 5s.
You notice he's got those 2 different colored boots, you know, it's good luck for him. He says, hey, I'm not, the time that he changed up Anaheim and he had the same colored boots is when he went down. So he says, you know what, I'm done this year. I'm wearing different colored boots. I don't care what people say.
He's riding good this year on that BTOsports.com, you know, KTM Factory Edition bike. Got a good thing going over there. We're going to have his teammate on the show later on, Justin Brayton, but good stuff.
Well, he's one of those guys that, you know, you talk about that, the bike that they're on, that all-new KTM 450. Andrew helped develop that thing just as much as Dungey and everybody else over there. I mean, Andrew's a very good development rider.
You know, he's out there on air shocks right now, the only rider in the field with an air rear shock. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to talk to Roger and see how he's using short to make that bike that's so much better than last year even better next year. Oh boy, those two, Chisholm and Nick Way. You remember them battling for the final transfer spot?
I mean, I talked to Nick. I said, you know, hey, it's unfortunate that what happened, but you went to the main and Kyle didn't. So, you know, don't be surprised if we see these guys in the last chance race tonight.
Gloves are off,
and maybe it's reversed roles where Nick's got the final transfer spot. Here comes number 11, Chisholm, on that last turn. Going to bump Nick out of the way.
You got to do what you got to do. You know, when it's for the last lap to make it into the main event, all bets are off. You know, if you leave the door open, you better expect that guy, which was Nick Way last weekend, to get a hold of you. He's going to try to get in there.
Well, and not only leave the door open, but
close it.
Bring your hammer too. You might have to knock it down.
He sure did. That's racing. Seen a lot of bumping and banging this year. You know, I'm still calling it the most competitive season we've seen in a long time. We got Dungey and Roczen. You know, they've stretched it out a little bit over the Hondas, but that can be erased instantly.
Well, and you look at it, you look at something like that, and you look at Nick Way, you know, 3 main events, that's all he's made, and you look at Chisholm, and he's made 4. So, I mean, you know, they're back and forth. It's like a tennis match like we talked about with Dungey and Roczen. It's the same with these guys. And you talk about rivals, you know, the first 3 guys, that they have their rivals. You know, the Canard, you look at that, you know, Dungey, Canard, Roczen, those guys have been on the podium the last 2 weekends in a row. They're just switch up the finishes.
Order, yes, sir.
But talk about rivals, Nick Way and Kyle Chisholm this year on getting those last final transfer spots.
To get to the main events, absolutely, Jim. All right, folks, we've had some shakeup in the top 5. It is still Eli Tomac with the lightning fast 48.6. He's 3/10 faster than Ken Roczen, who's second. Dungey's third, Millsaps fourth, Canard fifth, 6th place is Jason Anderson, 7th Cole Seeley, Brock Tickle 8th, Weston Pike. He's out there banged up pretty bad. His knee tore his MCL last weekend. He's still going for it. He's 9th, Chad Reed's 10th.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, Weston Pike. Still no Justin Barsha, still out. Probably out next weekend, maybe Daytona, who knows?
Yeah, Will Harn, our buddy's still gone. We've been pretty fortunate. Like we said at the beginning of the show, this is round 8. And at the halfway point of the 450 main event, that's going to signify halfway in this series already. You got to start thinking championship. You know, Ricky Carmichael always said the championship begins at Daytona or the East Coast, and you know, it's time. And that guy right there, Ryan Dungey, they better put a hook in him fast because he's confident, he's winning races, and he's pulling away.
Well, and the other thing, you look at number 5 as we're watching Cole Seeley right now circling the track there. The thing with Dungey is he's getting good starts. He's putting himself in good positions, you know, to win these things.
I'll tell you what, Phil Nicoletti gets good starts too. Always has. You know, those JGR 450s have arguably the most horsepower in the field. But Phil has good technique. He's a whole shot guy.
Yeah, I think you look at a guy like Phil Nicoletti, and I've talked to him a few times on the track walks and stuff, just, you know, him believing that he belongs in those main events and he's a top 10 guy. I mean, he got a 13th last week, and I'm pushing for him to get in the top 10. I said, you know, you belong in that top 10.
Absolutely, he could do it. That's going to be it. Checker flag is out. Top 5, Eli Tomac, Ken Roczen, Ryan Dungey, Davey Millsaps, and Trey Canard.
Yeah, 58.6. I mean,
48.
48.
Yeah. You know, the last 2 weekends, the lap times have been a little bit quicker than, you know, the first 6 rounds. But that's okay. You know, change the tracks up a little bit, put some fast straightaways in. Pretty solid top 10 right there. Tomac, Roczen, Dungey, Millsaps, Canard, Anderson. We're going to be sending it down here to Lurch here in a moment for Eli Tomac.
Checkered flag is coming out right now.
Tomac needs to win races. You know, he's fallen behind in the points a little bit, and he's just kind of struggling. You know, he's had some altercations with Chad Reed, but we're going to see how that pans out. He needs a win here at Atlanta. He needs a win this weekend and next weekend. That'll get him back into it. It's a good shot of your top 5 right there, the monster pylon. Millsaps.
And Canard.
Dungey.
How are you going to pick?
I know, man. We've been giving each other a hard time.
Well, the thing that I was, you know, kind of hoping to see Chad Reed down in 10th.
48.6, I believe, was that final time. Great job, this Atlanta track. Just like last week, a line of whoops that you got to contend with each and every lap.
Yeah, you know, I'm liking it right now. You know, it seems to be separating some guys, like the dragging back to the little whoop landing there, and we have a long set of whoops too. And it actually bit me there in the middle of the practice. Lost my feet off the pegs, got a little buck wild, but luckily I'm all right.
Inside, outside, do you think the lane choice is going to change throughout the day or even for the night program?
You know, I think right now it's the inside's definitely the way to go. But I mean, who knows? If you somehow get shuffled back, there's an option there. But the inside's definitely fast right now.
You know, let's talk about it this week, next week, going to be duel in the Dome. Whoever has the best finishes at both of them going to take home another trophy. Pretty cool coming back to Atlanta 2 times this week and then next week also.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I think it's good that we're getting back to the East Coast here, and I definitely think the fans love it, so why not give them 2 weeks?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the number 3 Geico Honda of Eli Tomac. And Irv, it is going to be very interesting. Next week, obviously, the 90s throwback. I don't even know if Eli Tomac was born.
And here we are back on track, 450B qualifying number 1. Get you a face full of dirt right there. Killian Rusk, Ronnie Stewart, number 86 is Zachary Freeberg, Florida boy. A lot of competition in this 450 class, even without, you know, the mega factory stars and the big names. Ronnie Stewart's fast. Killian Rusk is super fast. You know, these guys can get into the show. Tremendously talented guys here in this 450B group.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you got to get into the night show. I know that, you know, you look at Ronnie Stewart, only one main event this year, and that was in San Diego, and he didn't make it again in Arlington. And you know, you talk about a guy like Killian Rusk.
Got a couple main events.
Two main events.
Yeah.
That's it. So last one he has made is in San Diego. So he kind of started to get on a roll, and then they didn't make it last week. So they got to make it this week in Atlanta.
You know, you got to use those semis. You know, if you can get a good start in those, that's how Ronnie Stewart got in San Diego. I remember it. Get out there, you know, Nick Schmidt had a good battle with Chad Reed and almost won that semi last weekend.
Well, we talk about it each and every week, you know, about putting yourself in a good position, and it starts with a good start in those semis. You don't want to be in that last chance race. I mean, too many good guys have been in that last chance race and not made main events. I'm talking about number 75.
Right.
Josh Hill there. There's Ronnie Stewart right now. Yellow Suzuki
Josh
with that
Hill,
red
man.
gear.
Oof. He got in there last weekend. Yeah, Ronnie Stewart, you know, another one of the people's champion. You know, you got Adam Enticknap and Ronnie Stewart. Great guy.
Well, and Ronnie, you know, last weekend he had a lot of family. I know both of his sisters were there. I was talking to them in the pits, his dad and everything. We were kind of going back and forth. And, you know, I'm sure, you know, not only are you disappointed as a rider when you come back to the truck and you didn't make the main event, but then you just, you know, your family's there, your dad, your sisters, they're smiling, say it's all right and stuff. Well, you know, in your mind, you're saying, no, it's not all right. You know, I'm a professional motorcycle rider, and I've got to get that bike into the main event. That's where I make my money. A little rubbing going on there.
Snaggy and Clausen, they are kind of rubbing at each other. Not rubbing at each other, just rubbing. Rubbing's racing. Got to be careful there. Nagy out of Illinois. Whoa, front end high.
Hang on to it. Here we go. Let's see if he leaves the door open.
battling pretty.
Oh, see, there you go. Kind of came up short on that, and that's an easy double. I think that he kind of was, you know, in his mind, he was worried about the rider behind, but how about Alex Ray up at the top? We talked about guys trying to get into the main event. A great time for Alex Ray of 52.6.
Yes, sir. Followed by Stewart, Zach Freeberg, Harrison, and there's our guy, Adam Enticknap, in the top 5. Here in the 450B qualifying number 1. The rest of your top 10 is Killian Rusk, Pipes, Clausen, and Tevin Tapia. Well, he's 9th, and then Winterstrom's 10th.
Talk about Adam Enticknap there. You know, he's going to be on the show later on. Probably right after this, old 7 Deuce Deuce will be up here.
Yeah, he will. Once again, folks, we want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in, especially our international viewers. We have somebody from Latvia tuning in, watching Race Day Live today. Thank you for tuning in, man. Send us a picture of you. What's going on in Latvia?
Probably snowing. It's probably cold.
I think it's snowing everywhere, but inside the Georgia Dome right now.
Well, and you talk about that, a lot of guys over there, you know, used to be part of Russia a long time ago. I know Juslan Su and the guys in Estonia, Tallinn, Estonia watching, a lot of guys from Riga. You know, a lot of these guys, they get a chance. It's perfect time for them because, hey, they're 8-9 hours ahead of us. Well, actually, that's West Coast time, so they're even closer. So they're probably sitting down, having dinner, watching practice here in Atlanta.
And Adam's out there putting it down for us. Big guy. Gosh, he's big for Supercross, you know. A couple of those guys out there are big guys. You know, Nick Schmidt's a big kid.
And Dustin Pipes, he's another kid that's a big kid out there.
Adam does a lot of riding up there in Canada. I was talking to Steve Mathis this morning about him a little bit. Always has a big smile on his face. There's Alex Ray right there. No, that's Michael Caden from Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. Michael Caden, list of sponsors is Storm Lake Honda, Buddy Brooks Racing, Ty Lube, Fly Racing, Tom Zont Racing, and Works Connection.
They started on that far left-hand side there and then kind of got a little bit out of shape in the middle of it, kind of backed it down. There's Alex Ray.
14.
He got his pink gear on again. It looked like he was, you know, we named him Kevin Barnett and myself, Pinky, and he's got the pink gear on. So Pinky is feeling it today. He's on a heater right now. Let's see if he can bump back up, and he's leading it, but can he beat a 52.6? A 52.9, consistent though for him.
Once again, you know,
getting a chance to look at him here. Now he's on a kind of a cool down. He was on a heater, but there's that pink gear.
Just about 3 minutes to go. Just about 3 minutes to go. It's still, still Alexander Ray, Ronnie Stewart, Zach Freeberg, Harrison, and Clausen are your top 5. Adam Enticknap is 6th, followed by Winterstrom, Killian Rusk, Pipes, and Tevin Tapia rounding out your top 10.
Just going to make a little note here for Adam Enticknap when he comes on the show, a 54.0. So we're going to say a 54.0. Where's he going to pick up that time? A 54.0 for the 7 Deuce Deuce.
He's 2.5 off of Alexander Ray. Looks like Adam's going to be our first guest, Jim.
Yeah, he's going to come right off the track probably. He was talking to me earlier. Hey, man, where are you guys at? I said, hey, when you see those 3 lights where the sun's shining in? That's us right up top there. And look right behind Andy's favorite beverage, the Bud Light logo, and you'll see us.
Yeah, right underneath the big Bud Light. Well, folks, race fans, what did the YZ450F and Yamaha YZ250F have in common? They both won major motocross shootouts. Check them out at your local Yamaha dealership or YamahaMotorsports.com. DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of AMA Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes. Just about 2 minutes to go here in 450B group qualifying number 1.
I'm thinking maybe when Adam comes, we'll have to get some chairs for him. I want to give him some rest. I don't want him making excuses. Hey, I was on Race Day Live and I was tired. That's why I didn't get the bike in the main event. So we'll have to talk to somebody and get some chairs for him to
we'll see.
You know,
whatever he wants,
rest.
man.
Yeah.
That's a big kid. If he wants a chair, I'm getting him a chair.
If he breaks the chair, then he owes
Colleen.
The Atlanta Dome.
Owes her for a chair.
Hey, I'll pay for the chair if he gets the bike in the main event. How's that?
There you go. Jim Hawley, sponsoring all the privateers today.
Now there's that yellow flag again.
Yeah, same section
Just
over there.
kills you. Just now you see Zach Freeberg up to the top with a 52.3.
That's Tapia who's down over there in that section. There you
Harrison
go, yeah.
now in second there.
Shaping up here a
Hopefully
little bit.
you see the 211 Tapia's bike there being pushed off by one of the Feld track crew.
One of the dig dugs.
Is he okay though?
Yeah.
He's walking off, Kevin?
He's over here shaking it off.
Shaking
in
it
the
off?
tunnel, yeah.
I like how they just lay the bike down.
Yeah. That's a tough section. You know, they're like we talked about at the beginning of our show, after the 65-foot triple, we've got that weird shaped jump, and then they triple, and then they double. But if you hang up on that triple right there, it's bad news.
Well, and there he is there. You're getting a chance to see him. He's okay there. And, you know, the Feld Motorsports people, you know, safety first. You see the Feld track crew that go out and get the motorcycle. These guys are actually wearing helmets. You see the Monster Energy helmet on the guys. You know, you figure the riders have the helmet on and they're around motorcycles. You got to have these guys with it. But Tapia kind of storming back. He's more mad at himself. You're going to have to pick the bike up now. And hopefully it's not too bent up. But, you know, this practice is over. There he goes adjusting the front brake lever. It got kicked down. It's in neutral. He's going to have to slide over. And now here comes the hard part. First kick fired right up. That's a good motorcycle.
Yeah, first kick. You got to love that always. All right, that's checker flags out with this group. Zach Freeberg, your fastest rider with a 52.3. Got Harrison behind him, 52.5. Ray's third, Stewart's fourth, and Adam Enticknap rounds out your top 5.
52.3, huh? 52.3 for Freeberg. I'm gonna have to ask Adam about that. Hey, how are we gonna pick up this time up here?
And AMSOIL is the official oil of Loretta Lynn's, AMSOIL Arena Cross, and Monster Energy Supercross. It's not only the official oil, AMSOIL products have been tested in the most extreme conditions at the track and on the trail to ensure they're formulated for superior dirt bike performance. Get out front performance, get AMSOIL.
See that last lap, 52.7. So Enticknap picked it up a little bit that last lap there in a 52.7 for him. That puts him 5th in that time practice. So he's just about 3
seconds off of the,
No, 3 seconds off of the fast guys, but I'm talking about Freeberg, 3/10 off from Freeberg, who had the fast time in that practice, so not bad.
No, real close. That top 5's camped out all over each other there. Even on down to Winterstrom in 7th. Yeah, it's pretty close. Here we go, 450C group qualifying number 1.
See, now you're starting to see some of those ruts developing in those timing sections.
Yeah, and the whoops, I'm turning around looking over my shoulder right now, looking down the whoop section, and they are getting cupped out. Looks pretty nasty over there.
You see a couple of the boys come around here. I'm trying to see a number. That's a Suzuki rider.
659, I believe.
659.
869, Robert Lind from Wildemore, California.
Okay, Robert looking good out there. He's doing what every mechanic wants to see his bike out front. Doesn't matter if it's a heat race, a semi, last chance, main event practice.
Get the lead.
Get the lead.
You
got a good clean track. You don't have to deal with anything. Lay down a pretty good lap time. We'll see what it is. Comes across. Well, they're going to have to go one more lap.
Lynn looks pretty good out there. Those are back-to-back really good corners. It's definitely standing out with that pink and yellow gear for sure. Another good corner.
That's Robert Lind, right?
Yeah, Robert Lind.
Yeah, Sweden, from Sweden.
Oh yeah, he lists Wildemore, California, but
he's originally from Sweden.
Yes, Sweden.
Having a problem right there. Don't stop. You see him stop. You tried to get off the track there, Robert Lind there, but you can't stop, because if you stop, then you lose your best time.
And if you want to turn your passion of cars and bikes into a new and exciting career, Universal Technical Institute and MMI partner with the world's top companies to help build their programs so you can get the education you need to succeed. Day and evening classes are offered. Visit uti.edu today for more information on how to get started. And if you're just tuning in, we are here in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Part one of the doubleheader weekend here in the Georgia Dome. You know, it's really exciting. Can't wait to see what's going to go on in these main events tonight. It's going to be on Fox Sports 1 at 7 p.m. Got some special things coming on. We're going to keep track of what's going on with the Arena Cross down in Tampa. Going to say hi to our friend Ricky Carmichael coming up here in the show. Got some exciting guests coming up. We have Adam Enticknap. It's going to be our first guest. Later on, we're going to have none other than Roger DeCoster, the man, joining our show. So stay tuned. We're going to be with you here all the way until the end of practice and qualifying, until about 4 o'clock. 4:55 there. Justin Asburn from Tennessee, Cooksville, Tennessee.
Having a little problem right there, kind of dabbed his foot there. Recovered nicely though.
I like that old school O'Neill gear. You got any of that, Jim? You're an O'Neill guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't have any of it. I'm even older than that.
It's going to be fun. We got to remember, folks, next weekend is Retro Week, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. The riders are going to have some old gear, some old graphics. Me and Jim are going to have some special surprises for you folks. I love the old school stuff, man. You know, I like writing my Rev Up column, talking about the old stuff. And
I'm going to have one of my old jerseys shipped out. Maybe I'll call O'Neill. They got one hanging up in the office.
Well,
they got all
12.
the old jerseys hanging up in the office. And
all your old Dirt Rider covers.
Dirt Bike.
Dirt
Rider, different.
Right.
I was for High Torque Publications there.
Oh,
Dirt,
okay.
Dirt Bike, Motocross Action, BMX Plus. Dirt Rider was my old buddy Willie Simons.
Yeah.
Willie Simons, he did all the Dirt Rider covers there. But you talk about rivalries on the track. There's rivalries in the magazine. I work for High Torque.
Gotcha. Jim's tightening it up on me over here. Got to watch it. Oh boy. Hang on to it, buddy.
It's a good save. You know, when you do something like that, it just, you know, it just deflates you. You just kind of ride around after that. You
barely hang on through
why
the
did I
section.
do that? How did I do that? And the thing about it, which is so mind-boggling, is if you don't know why you did it, then you're going to do it again. You have to know why you did it. And if you don't, then you got to talk to your man. Hey man, what happened there? Whoa, hang on. Talk about a guy going buck wild there in the whoops. Saved it though.
So far, 450 Group C qualifying number 1. It is Ransdell. He's got a 54.6. Followed by Ozzy Bobbery. Mandersheed is 3rd. And White's 4th. And Lind is 5th. Slick going into that right-hander there.
You know, one of the guys who we don't see here that we saw out west, Frederick Knorr, and I talked to Dan Bentley, the Team Honda manager, and I asked him, he says, you know, we're starting our outdoor stuff, and that's where he's going to help us out. You know, he finished in the top 10 in the outdoors, and, you know, you look at it, and he says, you know, he had 6 or 7 rounds in the, you know, on the West Coast there, but we're going to keep him on the outdoor and do a lot of testing for us.
Cool. 262 there, or 282. Theodore Pauly from Edwardsville, Illinois. Going to have some track prep coming up here in a little bit. You can see it starting to dry out a little bit. Little dust right there, but their fellow track crew will get it whipped up into shape. It's going to be perfect for the main events tonight.
Yeah, this is where it's really slick. Right in here when you come back into the finish line there, they're going to have to get some, you know, water in it. They'll kind of bring up the soil, remove it a little bit, and it'll be fine. See some of the guys out there getting a little creative with some of their lane choices.
862 in your screen right there, Ozzy Bobbery. Putting down a pretty good lap, 55.7.
They just grab a big handful of throttle when they come back on that wall jump and just grab a handful and just rock it right out of there, backwards down the starting line there and hook into that right hander. You're starting to see 3 or 4 ruts developing out of that left-hander before they come into the timing section. Right here coming up, you see some of those ruts out there developing.
And it looks like we got our first guest of the show making his way over here to the Race Day Live stage. What's going on, Adam? Adam Enticknap. Welcome to Race Day Live, bro.
What's up, bros?
Seven deuce deuce.
You know it.
Dude, you just came off the track, man.
Yeah, no, coming in hot right off the Hotlanta track. It's doing good. The track's shaping up nice. It's getting dry pretty quick, though.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, no, it's getting slick. Like right before both the triples, there's a few little ruts. Nothing major, but it's really drying out fast.
Yeah. We've got some track prep coming up. They'll put some water down on it, run the tractor over it. It'll be good.
Yeah, no, the second practice is always prime. I'm stoked about that. I always do better in that last practice. So, yeah, just go out there and run smooth laps and try to get as many laps as I can in for that night show.
You talk about that practice you were just in. You know, Freeburg had a 52.3. I noticed you put in fifth fastest, a 52.7. But before that, you were at a 54, but you kind of waited till the end before you put that 52.7 in.
Yeah, I had a little problem with this triple step on. There's a dragon's back into like a hill of whoops, if I might add. And then there's like a little kicker whoop right before the triple on, so it's difficult to get that. I got that towards the end of the practice, which I should have got at the beginning, but yeah, that's a tough little section.
Looks
so
pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not super scary. It's just a little technical. So I got that towards the end of the practice, so this next practice should be looking really good. I'm pumped.
You talk about the track. How is it with those whoops? I mean, you got a split lane, you got the left, you got the right there. I mean, it looks hard. It looks like the right may be favoring some of the guys, but although I saw Marvin Muskin on that far left-hand side jump in and carry that speed, and that worked for him.
Yeah, no, that left side's really good right now, and I think the right side is also super good. The thing about the right is that they're beat down, so if you can get a really good entrance to it, you can really go through them fast and just kind of sit back and wheelie through them. The left side, the whoops are a lot fresher because they're a little bit bigger, and nobody's taking that line, so the left side could be really good for this third practice, so we'll see how that shapes up.
It's been pretty tough this year, Adam. You know, this is one of the most stacked 450 classes we've seen in a long time. Tell us about the competition. How gnarly is it out there? These guys are flying. You're riding really good yourself.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, everybody's flying, and that's the crazy part is you go out there, you get a good start, and you know what I mean? You got like a Chad Reed, a Brock Tickle, you know what I mean? Somebody like that behind you, and they're not really passing you. So it's crazy, but it's fun, and it's a dream come true to be hanging with these guys and right there, and just putting those laps in. It's really, I'm sure you guys have talked about the start, but the start is key, and just getting out front and running clean laps and getting that first lap in and making it quick. So that's kind of like been my main focus the last few rounds. It's definitely been getting better and better and better, so hopefully I'll be able to put it in that main event tonight.
Something I noticed a little bit different from last year. You made a lot of mains last year. This year, it's round 8. You haven't got that thing in there, but you've been in some positions where you've been there. I've seen you. I've been watching. All right, Adam's going to make it tonight.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Just honestly, just making little mistakes that are costly, like leaving the door open or just not making a jump that quite right and letting a guy slip through. And like you guys said, the competition's so stiff. It's not like you have a guy that's mediocre behind you. If you make one little mistake, they're going to capitalize right now, right here. So that's a big thing, is just not making any mistakes and putting that bike in that main event with smooth, consistent laps.
Do you feel you're giving away a little bit? I mean, you're not overweight, or you're just a big boy. I mean, off the start, I mean, you're probably giving away at least 25 pounds to some of these
weighs
guys.
137 pounds.
Yeah, no, I'm giving away a lot, which is hard, and I've been trimming down slowly but surely. But it's really about getting that shift and that clutch, because you know, even Blake Baggett, when he was on Mitch Payton, he never seemed to get good starts outdoor or indoor, and he's been getting better ones this year. So I think it's really key to get that snap right off the gate, get that good shift in, and just be aggressive and throw those elbows up, you know?
We saw a lot of guys, I see a lot of the guys using recluse clutches. Are you using a recluse clutch?
Yeah, I'm using an auto clutch. I really do think it helps. just from the shifting purposes, because you can just bang the gears and it goes through, so it's less time with that shift. And I've been getting out of the gate good, but that second shift, I haven't quite got that down. We practiced that this week, so I'm hoping to get some really, really good starts tonight.
Cool, man. You got a really cool background, and we're going to be talking about, the Tampa Supercross, Arena Cross tonight.
Yeah.
And you've done some Arena Crosses up in Canada. Tell us about some of those races, man.
Oh, man. Courtney Lloyd, she's amazing. She invited me to go up to Canada and race for Cycle North, and that was a gift for sure. The racing was amazing, and it really got me prepared for this Supercross season. I got to do a lot of starts, and those are tight races, so it's even more. If you don't get the start, you're done. So that was really fun. It was cold up there though. The fans were great. Everybody was super nice. It's a little bit different in Canada. Everybody seemed so jolly and cheered. So
which is weird because it's freezing up there.
I know, it's stoked. Crazy. They're just stoked. Everybody's stoked, and yeah, I had a really good time up there. That was fun.
You get a chance to look at some of the KTM Junior Supercross Challenge on a split screen right there. That's
so sick.
A pretty cool
It's
event.
So sick. Yeah, no, that's awesome. My little brother got to do that back in the day, and he went on the start and looped out. That was a pretty funny little story. And man, those kids have so much fun. I give them high fives every time I can see them. They're having the time of their life, that's for sure.
Well, one of the kids out there, number 6, that's Wyatt Andretti, and I know Steve Ezel. He's got pro action in Kentucky there.
Yeah.
Trevor Ezel, Trevor rides and stuff, and he unfortunately had a wrist injury and not riding here tonight, but they helped this kid, and he was just so excited to get here to Atlanta and get a chance to race in the Dome.
No, it's crazy. For these kids, we get to see it every weekend, but these kids don't, and it's insane how happy these kids are to see us. They're like in awe. They're like, oh my gosh, you guys are sick. Yeah. So no, it's awesome. I try to give them high fives, hugs, tips whenever I can. You know what I mean? Just keep them pumped up and try to calm them down as much as I can. They're definitely nervous when they're going out there. You see the kids shaking. The dads are all pumped, but the kids are like, oh my god,
this is heavy. We're in the Georgia Dome.
Yeah, they're tripping.
You've got a lot of help, and I'm talking about Wanda. She's a big part of your racing program and helping you out. I mean, I almost want to say if it wasn't for Wanda, you might not be here.
Yeah, no, Wanda Reese, man, and Kenny Reese with Viking Bay, they help me out so much. They kind of keep me going, and she does all the 7deucedeuce.com merchandise and just helping me out with every little thing I need. Some of the people don't get to see, making it from the practice track to the race. She helps me out, you know what I mean? I got to stay with her for outdoor too, and she fed me and took me to the tracks. I mean, it's a job, and these people don't have to do these things, and I give it out to Wanda and Kenny for helping me out like they did. They're awesome.
You talk about your website, 7deucedeuce.com, and you got a lot of fans being on the Pulpamex show with Steve Mathis and stuff. And
so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Steve told me this morning, he's like, hey, ask him about rapping. He raps.
Oh, man.
You got to bust out some stuff for us.
You got a CD, right?
What?
You got a CD, right?
Yeah, no, I do. I have a CD.
You got some PG-13 stuff you can lay out there?
I don't. I try to do the best I can because I love the kids, but no, I don't have any PG-13. I love rapping though. It's like my pastime hobby. I don't really take it too serious, that's for sure. But I have fun doing it, and it's cool, and people seem to like it. And I rap about dirt bikes and stuff, so that's cool, And I appreciate everybody buying the CDs and listening to it. It's fun. It's fun
awesome,
stuff.
Man. Yeah.
Dude, you guys are having the time of your lives up here.
Absolutely. We're just big fans.
Dude, you guys got the spot. You guys got the hot spot. You're hanging out in front of the camera. What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Just chilling,
It's awesome. Roger DeCoster's coming up here, one of my heroes.
That's the man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the man.
You start thinking of questions to ask that guy, you got to think about it a little bit. You can't just be like, yo, man, how's it going,
Yo,
Roger?
bro.
You've been with three major organizations that guy has, Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, KTM.
Dude,
and he's won titles everywhere.
Yeah, he's a motocross, supercross genius.
Right.
I mean, just look what he did to that bike and that whole team.
Right.
That's
what we're going to ask him
about. It speaks for itself.
Right.
Speaks for itself.
Something else I wanted to ask you. Your brother is a professional rider. We see him riding Supercross outdoor. How's he doing?
He's doing really good. I mean, as good as you can get. He tore his ACL, which was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. A week before Supercross. So that was lame. He's trying to do his best for his sponsors, but he's been helping me out a lot at the practice track. So So that's huge for me. Just kind of getting my laps in and making sure my bike's ready to go and nothing bolted, you know, make sure nothing's falling off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you about him, because you actually went through some adversity. I had you lined up to go to Sweden. You called me a couple weeks earlier and said, Jim, I can't make it.
Yeah.
I got a knee problem, and you had the same, not quite as bad.
No, not near as bad. I had meniscus surgery. I tore my meniscus out at the practice track, which was real bummer because I had the Canadian Arena Cross coming up, so I had to get that thing fixed ASAP. And man, I really wanted to go though. I've always wanted to race overseas.
We're gonna
get it dialed. We're gonna get it dialed.
Unlike my buddy Nick Schmidt, that didn't even make the airplane ride, and he didn't even call me to give me a shot and say, hey, I can't make it. I told him, I go, Nick, if you can't make it or you're injured or what, just give me a call. There's a lot of other guys I can take over there. And
Can't get Jim fired up here, man.
No, calm down, Jim.
It's all good.
I'm not getting Wes Kane on us.
That's another can of worms.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
It's awesome, man. You know, talk about the 250 class for us. You know, put your fan hat on. You know, Marvin Moose can smoke those guys last weekend, but look who was the fastest here. Martin Davalos. He won this race last year. Can he bounce back?
We'll see. We'll see. You know, I love Martin, and he's a great rider, but he seems to be the heat race king and not the main event king, you know, which is a real bummer for him. And I know he's been struggling out with his career, just watching him, and I've always cheered for him, but he needs to turn it around and get his head on straight and make those main events happen. And it comes with a good start. But I also think you don't want to count out Jeremy Martin and Justin Bogle. Bogle knows how to win the championship. He's done it before. You got to stay in it. Marvin Muskin, you know, he tore his ACL last year. That was a bummer. He's coming back looking great. I've seen him in practice. Practice, I wouldn't say is the biggest thing, but it's definitely a confidence booster. So being out there, Martin getting that #1 spot is going to be big coming into this night program. And I think Martin could pull it out. I really do. I think he could pull out a main event win. But it's really going to be about consistency like it always is. It's the Dungey theory, you know what I mean? You stay in it. You stay in that top 3 every weekend. You ride every lap, and you're going to win championships. And at the end of the year, that's all that really matters.
Well said.
I wanted to ask you something, you know, last week that we saw, you know, in that heat race with Vince Freeze, you know, gets the whole shot and doesn't do that triple single. I mean, that was so close. I mean, do you ever wonder about that? Like when you're on the starting line and you go the first time, you're going, man, is that guy going to triple
everybody
this double?
does. Everybody does. And that's why you almost have to huck the jumps the first lap.
Just go.
You have to go. You know what I mean? Even if you come up a little short, it's worth it because Vince Freeze was almost done. He was almost done. He almost pulled a Canard Kinry at San Diego or Dodgers
Marias,
a while ago. Yeah, Marias, that's who it was. You don't want to do that. And it's hard because you double the triple because you think somebody's not going to make it in front of you, and then you try to move to the right or the left, but the guy behind you just hucked it, and he's going to the right or the left. So it's like, you know, you kind of just got to pray to the Lord and hope for the best on that. And luckily, Vince Freeze came out as clean as he could on that one. That was, oh man, that was scary. That stopped my heart for sure.
Well, I'm going to pray to the man upstairs. You get that 7 deuce in the main event, buddy. I want you in there, man.
You know what I'm talking about?
See, I went open fist because he's a big boy.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't want to get hit.
Yeah, no.
I was going to say, I know.
I got the double XL fly racing gloves, you know what I mean? I got some big hands, so I'm a big dude. I can, you know what I mean? We can throw some punches.
All right, well, I know we got to let you go, and we really appreciate the time. I know you were just fresh off of the track, and you ran up here, and I know you want to go back and talk to your mechanic, but we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, thank you guys, for reals. I love the show. I wish I could watch it more, but I'm practicing, and thank you guys for having me.
Good luck.
Ted Parks at the Privateer Journey, always putting us up, you know what I mean?
Ted does a wonderful job. I mean, he's so excited. He got some backing from Suzuki now, he was telling me, and everything. And young Teddy coming off of a knee injury, and he's got that fixed now. Hopefully we'll see him come back soon. But Ted Parks, a saint for the Privateers.
Thank all your sponsors real quick.
Hey, thank you guys. The Privateer Journey, motorsport.com, Psycho North, Courtney Lloyd. You guys are awesome. Wanda Reese, Viking Bait, Kenny. Let's see, California Coast Plumbing, Jeff does a huge job for me. Tokyo Mods, the 7deuce.com, Pulp MX Show, Dave Cruz, Dunlop, you know what I mean? Fly Racing, of course, they're helping me out big time right now. Recluse Clutches, Galliford Brakes. And
what about Subway? They still want to helping you out?
Dude, Subway, Eat Fresh, you know what I mean? They're keeping me on the track.
Yeah.
I'm on that gym. Who's that guy? Jared, I'm on that Jared diet, so we're working on that. And Gary Boyce and just everybody, thank you guys so much. Asterix doing a good job. Thank you guys.
All right.
You just heard it from the 7 Deuce Deuce.
Boom.
Jim Hawley sat down with John Tomac and had a pretty cool interview. Check it out.
Jim Hawley, Race Day Live, presented by AMSOIL. Well, this is a nice little segment I like to do. It's kind of a sit-down segment, and this week I'm talking to John Tomac. John, an avid and a mountain bike champion. How many championships did you win?
I didn't really count, but national titles, World Cup titles, World Championships, all that stuff in the mountain bike sport.
Talk a little bit about, I know you're from Michigan, and then back in the mid-'80s, you made the truck out to California, hooked up with Byron Friday, and you started your mountain bike career, but you really weren't into motorcycles too much at that point.
No, I was in Michigan through high school, which was '85, and then at that time I was a BMX racer, so I went BMX racing, turned pro, and then moved to California to train through a winter in '85, and that's when I kind of hooked up with Byron and got into mountain biking out there, got exposed to that, and then kind of went on my mountain bike path from there. But I was a motocross fan at that point, but I never really rode myself.
And then you hooked up with your lovely wife, Kathy. You had Eli Tomac. You're raising him. I saw, coming through the amateur ranks. What made him decide to go race a motorcycle instead of a bicycle?
Well, he was, when he was little, he skated. He was probably 3 or 4 years old. He skated, rode his BMX bike. He's just a normal kid, and then he got a little PW50, but he was BMX racing when he was 5 and 6, and then he had a friend that did some dirt bike racing, so he started riding his dirt bike, and then I took him to a race, and he seemed to really enjoy that more than the BMX racing, so we kind of went down that path at the local level, and by the time he was 7 or 8, he started really doing well, even at the regional or national events, and from there it just kept building, all the way up to being a pro. And in motocross and supercross at 16, you're 16, 17, 18 years old, it's crunch time to see if you can make it as a pro, so it goes by quick.
When did you know, I know as a father, I see some of my kids ride, and you see other riders ride, that, hey, this kid's got what it takes to be successful?
Yeah, in amateur motocross, it's tough because there's kids that'll do really well when they're young, and there's some of those kids will do well all the way through. Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, Eli kind of went that path, and then there's other guys that don't really blossom until a little bit later. So, you just don't really know. I think by the time you're probably 20, the guys are probably going to become a decent pro or not. So it's just kind of hard to say. Everybody has a different path to get to the top of this sport.
Something that I notice, and I've been around the sport a long time, I like the way you and your wife, Kathy, handled Eli's career. I mean, you've won championships in the 250 class and things like that, but then it's time to move up to the 450, and you guys were being courted by everybody. I mean, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Honda. What made you stay with the Honda?
Well, when he was amateur, he finished his amateur career on a Honda, and then actually early amateur days he was a Suzuki rider, but about the time he was transitioning into pro, Suzuki actually had a lot of cutbacks at that time, so Honda stepped up and made him an offer where he could finish his amateur career and then move into the pros, and they still do that with the Geico team. They develop their amateurs and bring them into the pros, and then so that's a good program because you can finish your amateur career and transition into the pros with the same team, and it's a smooth transition. And then you go racing your 250 or your lights career, and after that it's time to move to the 450. And again, he was in the Honda system, so it's easy to stay with that familiar program, and it just takes a big variable out of the equation when you stay with the same guys that you've been with.
Something else I noticed, Eli's bike's under the factory Honda tent, and I kind of think that, when Kevin Windham retiring, Eli kind of fell into that, hey, we have a 450 spot open and things like that. But last year we saw him under the Geico tent. This year we see him under the factory Honda tent.
Yeah, I think Honda wanted him, and probably Geico also over here, because now we have a lot more support from HRC from Japan, and and Eli's on basically an HRC factory Honda bike, so it's important for them to really have their fingers on the pulse as far as what's going on with the motorcycle. Basically, we're integrated into this Honda team as far as the equipment goes. So he's basically there's basically 3 Honda guys. Eli just rides, under the Geico banner for the Geico sponsorship.
And you know how important that is. Obviously, the same thing in mountain biking. If you don't have the right equipment, it's very hard to be successful.
Yeah, and it's always a work in progress. It's amazing from week to week. I don't think people realize behind the scenes how it's always advancing, how you're always trying to make yourself better, because unless you're winning, you're chasing, so, and if you're chasing, you're trying to find that, that little 1 or 0.5% that's going to get you to the top there.
All right, well, I know you got to get back. I appreciate the time. John Tomac, thanks for being on Race Day Live, man, and good luck to Eli. And I know that, this year has been good with the win, but also on the other hand, he's had some problems, at Anaheim 1, like last year at Anaheim 1.
Yeah, it hasn't been, things haven't really gone his way completely, but he's still in the mix, he's still in the game, and if things just fall his way a little bit more, there's a good chance he can get on a roll, and we don't feel like we're out of this by any means. So. And he's very capable of doing that. The championships that he has won in the past, especially motocross in 2013, he didn't lead the series at the start, but he put it to him at the end. So that's what really matters is who's got the most points in Vegas.
Mechanic Frankie Lathan, you win the MMI AMSOIL Top Tech Award. You pick up $1,000. You had to have been a little bit nervous on that restart.
Yeah, for sure. You're always nervous when there's a red flag or a restart, but I have the best rider. He's really smooth and consistent, and he works really hard, so I had confidence in him, and he brought it home.
Pretty easy working on this new Supercross special bike from KTM. I mean, you got him their first win with that new bike in the 250 class.
Yeah, the factory edition that KTM came out with on the 250 is a really nice bike, and we're lucky to have it, and with a great rider like Marvin, we put it on top.
Well, let me ask you this, Marvin, who's buying dinner, Frankie or you? I mean, he picks up $1,000 from MMI and AMSOIL for the Top Tech Award, and you picked up a lot of bonuses for that win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we worked hard for this, and Frankie put so much effort, I've been down in Florida to train with Alden Baker, and yeah, he came with me, I mean, he has his wife at home and all that. I mean, it means a lot to me, all the work is done, so many hours at the workshop, on the track. I mean, training and racing, he does both. So a lot of mechanics doesn't do that much, so it means a lot. I'm really glad to get it done.
One last question for you. Did you like the track here with the new dirt?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the track was really nice. Dirt was awesome. They watered it perfect. They rebuilt the whoops for the night show because they were nearly in practice. So I almost went down during the main event. It was really technical, but that's Supercross, so that's not easy.
Hey, welcome back to Race Day Live. We have a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Roger DeCoster. Thanks for coming to the show, Roger.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First off, hey, congratulations. What a start to the year. Brand new bike. Ryan Dungey's getting away. Marvin Muskin goes out there and completes a perfect day of racing and evening. Congratulations. It's got to feel great.
Yeah, Dallas was awesome. For us, it was a great weekend. It could not be better.
Something I got to ask you, Roger. I've known you for a long time. We've had a chance to ride with Dirt Bike Magazine, High Torque Publications, and I've watched your career. You were an idol of mine, 5-time world motocross champion. But I know a side of you that a lot of people don't know, that you're pretty intelligent as far as working with the motorcycles and developing things, and that's your baby out there. I mean,
thank you. I'm going to have to buy you a beer tonight. I'm pretty involved with the bike, and I like to be working with the bike, with the mechanics and the engineers and all that. And it's been really satisfying to see what they're doing with it. With the new bike. Both classes the bikes are working great. We shaved a lot of weight of the 450, and it's fast, it turns good, it's stable, and so we're really happy with it.
You know, something that I know, Andy, with Roger, you know, you're a lot like a manager of a baseball team or an NFL coach. I mean, you assemble a good team, and I'm talking to Ian Harrison and, you know, all the mechanics over there, you know, that you put together this package, and the pit buyer, and you got together and you said, look, a while ago, we got to get a rider, we got to pay the riders, and we got to make a lot of changes on that motorcycle.
Yeah, they were very open, you know, so it was good, and to start working with them, because they let us do what we needed to do to get in the right direction. And like you said, I was able to assemble a really good crew, really good people in, you know, there's no slackers. My whole crew is, I'm really proud of them, and they work their butt off, you know, whatever time it takes, they will stay on the job until it's done. And I have no worries on that side. They're really awesome team.
Carlos Rivera, he's a graduate of MMI and Dungey's mechanic there, and we saw Frankie Lathan, he got the MMI Top Tech Award last week. Did he buy some pizza for those late nights at the shop with that $1,000 from MMI?
No, he bought some red wine.
Okay, all right.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, last year you have Ken Roczen, who won this race last year, and he leaves the team. But, you know, kind of lurking back there, you guys have this new bike that you've been working on for a year, and Dungey shows up, and Dungey's back. And now those guys are 1 and 2. It's got to feel good. Maybe, you know, a little revenge or something there, but it's got to feel good.
Well, it's not really revenge, you know. He's not on our team now, so our job is to beat him, and Kenny is an awesome rider, and our job is to do everything we can to beat him. And now, right now, things are really tight, but we're in front of him in the points, and things can change very quick. You know, it's Supercross, but it's good to be in the front, you know, and hopefully we can stay there.
Right, you know, and talking about staying there, you guys are still developing stuff. You guys have Andrew Short over in the BTO Sports team testing the air shock and testing other things. Can you kind of explain to us how you're using him to keep getting those bikes even better?
Yeah, well, you know, Andrew is on the backside of his career, and he still enjoys racing, and he's still pretty good, and he's a pretty good test rider and an awesome guy to work with. He's you know, very open-minded and patient, and he's the ideal guy to do development work with on races. And you know, you can do testing during the week and all that, but it's never the same as what you do on a race day. And this is giving us an opportunity to work with a good rider, try out things and sort things out, and he is happy to do so, because it also gives them, you know, like maybe better equipment than he would have if he would not do this.
Right. You know, that's awesome. You know, it's cool to hear how they're still developing and using that program. But let's talk about Atlanta. You know, this is the action track. You've been going back to the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Do you have a favorite memory of racing here in this city?
Atlanta is great because there's a lot of fans always, you know, and I raced here in the days of the Trans AMA when you know, and I remember going home and the red dirt, everything, all your stuff, all your gear was red, and you could not get it out, you know.
It's still here.
And but it is a special feeling when you have 70,000 people in the stadium and you can race in front of them. It gives energy. It makes everybody happy and feel that they're doing something important.
Well, we're on the big screen right now, and we want to welcome the fans into the Atlanta Georgia Dome. A lot of the guys doing the track walk, and we have Roger DeCoster, 5-time world champion, team manager of the KTM Red Bull team. But Roger, a lot of people tweet in questions. A lot of people are asking, do you keep in touch with some of your old rivals? And I'm talking about Heikki Mikkola, Joel Robert, any of those guys you talk to?
A lot of the guys, I get the chance to see when I go back for the Nations, you know, once a year. And one guy that I talk with that gives me a call sometimes, and actually usually once a year comes by and visit, is Jean-Michel.
Oh, cool.
And you know, and Joel, like I said, at the Nation we usually see him. And the rider I had the most contact with until I came to KTM was Sylvain Gubos, because we worked together a lot on the development on the bike and the setup of the bikes. And also when Ken started racing Suzuki's, in the GPs, we actually helped him and did his engines here for the second half of the year when he actually started winning at that time.
Well, a lot of guys work for you, and I want to ask you this question on, you know, after your career, you're kind of towards the end of your career, you're riding Hondas over there. Dave Arnold, not our camera guy Dave Arnold, but Dave Arnold that worked for Honda with you. After your career, you sat down with him, and then you became the team manager of Honda, and you hired Jeff Spencer, and you had O'Mara and Bailey and Daryl Schultz and all the guys that were over that Honda, that era there. And you went from there, and then you went to Suzuki and built a dynasty, and now you're building a dynasty over at KTM.
Yeah, I like to work with good people and with winners, you know, and it's fun to do that. And I still feel just as motivated as when I started doing it. I feel that I'm fortunate to be able to make a decent living in doing my hobby, basically, you know, and I would be playing with bikes anyhow if I was not working.
Well, you say that, you know, look at your new bike. The thing is awesome. It looks awesome when it came out in the magazines and the websites. I saw the pictures and I was just like, wow, I think they really have something there. Have you ridden the thing? I mean, it's awesome.
It's just in the basically in the parking lot.
Yeah.
These bikes are so fast and so good now that it takes really a good rider to you know, to bring the best out of it.
Just one more question. You know, a guy you've been competing against for the last 3 or 4 years is Ryan Villopoto, and you're a 5-time world champion. What's he in for? Is he got good chances to go over there and win that world championship?
Yeah, it's not going to be a walk in the park, but Villo is a tough guy, and I'm sure he's not going to just lay down there. But I think it's going to be a really good series, and the Europeans are in for, you know, watching some good racing, and I think the World Series is lucky to have him, and I think for the sport overall, I think it's good to see a top American over there competing against the best of Europe, and it only should make motocross bigger.
See, I think if I'm Ryan Villopoto, I'm going to take Roger DeCoster out to dinner before I went over there and pick your brain a little bit on what's in store for him, because it is a different racing environment over there, and if he hasn't done it, Roger's got experience. Roger, I know you're a busy guy. We're going to thank you for coming on Race Day Live. People in the Georgia Dome, thank Roger DeCoster, 5-time world champion, Roger DeCoster.
Thank you.
I'm Justin Brayton of the BTO Sports KTM team, and you're watching Race Day Live.
Hey, welcome back to the show. We have another guest coming up to see us, Mike Alessi. Welcome to Race Day Live, buddy.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's up, Jim.
Mike.
Tell us about the track. The whoops look pretty gnarly out there, man.
Yeah, the whoops are not too bad this weekend. The track overall is going to be great for racing. It's going to be important to get a good start here because it's going to be so single file. Going to need a good start, be up front, be aggressive, so that's going to be a big part of it.
You know a little bit about getting good starts.
Sometimes. Seems like I've been choking really hard the last couple of weeks on the main event. I just put so much pressure on myself, but if I could just go into the main event, just be relaxed, I could get that start that I know I can get and just be up front.
Yeah, I was talking off camera to your lovely wife Danielle there, and she's going, yeah, that's $1,500 at supercrosslive.com page.
And that pays a lot of bills, or at least can help out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, tell us about that. You know, you have a pretty cool feature at your house in your garage. You have all your hole shot checks on the wall. How many do you have now?
It's a lot. I was extremely happy this last week when I was able to go back from California to Florida, and I was able to nail that thing up on the wall in the garage, and it just felt good. And I was like, I'm hungry, I'm eager to get that one this weekend in Atlanta. So I want it, and I'm going to try and get it the best I can and try to fight for it in the first turn.
Something that I was talking to Andy earlier in the show when we were getting a chance to watch in that first time practice, something that I see that Mike Alessi's improved on is the whoops. It seems like you're getting a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if it's yourself getting comfortable or the bike settings or what, but talk a little bit about that.
Well, over the years, a lot of people have been pretty rough on me about the whoops and saying that I'm not that great in the whoops, but I'm going to keep working, keep trying, and that's all you can do is just improve year after year, and that's what I'm doing and trying to get better in the whoops and my supercross skills and the rhythms, the jumps, the corners. So it's a process. It's not something that seems for me to come overnight, and I definitely have to work harder to get it. But, I got a great team behind me, Smart Top Moto Concepts, and Mike Genova has just been, he's been a great guy, and I definitely enjoy working for him and riding for him.
You know, it seems like something clicked 2 years ago, or maybe even last season. It was when you were working with Michael Byrne. Talk to us about what he did to help teach you how to do Supercross better. You've always been a phenomenal outdoor guy, but your Supercross game right now is killing it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm riding better than I ever have, but my results don't show that because I'm either getting bad starts and I'm crashing, which is, you know, not my norm. So I need to get a good start and be up front. But definitely, like you said, working with Burner helped out a lot. But throughout my career, I really haven't had a lot of help through Supercross. It's just been myself, and I pick it up as I go. And working with Burner helped me tremendously last year, and I'm just trying to remember that skills that I learned from him and going into 2015 season.
You know, you talk about the Supercross. What are you doing after Supercross? I know we talked a little bit in Sweden. You were going to maybe do a couple outdoor nationals. You were going to go up to Canada to do a few. You were going to go over and join Villapota and ride a couple GPs in Europe. Is that still on the drawing board?
As of right now, it's a mystery. It really is, even to myself when I asked Genova. So he's going to make the best decision and choice for the team as he will, and I'm going to go with it. And I trust in God and his decision that he wants to go in.
Something else that's it's not a mystery, your teammate Vince Vries last week in that heat race. I mean, I saw him do the same thing in Sweden, and it wasn't in Sweden he got busted up, but here he got lucky.
I told Vince that in that situation, he should have stayed in his race line because the dude around him, the guy around him, he's going to make the adjustment to go either left or right. And when he landed and veered to the left, I'm sure he saw it on TV. If he had gone 6 more inches to the left, he would have been definitely landed on and severely injured. So in that situation, as a rider, I tried to tell him, stay in your race line. The guy behind you is going to alter his line. He's going to make the jump and move out of the way, where not you getting in the line, and that's what he did. So as far as Vince, he's riding good this season. He got a 6th last week, and I definitely are looking for him to improve and be a top 5 guy.
Well, and that's what we talked about. I mean, Vince finished up 3rd in the East Coast 250 Championship last year, and his goals were to get on the podium, in which he succeeded that, but his goals this year are to win some races.
Vince is riding good, and I wouldn't doubt it. He's got the title contention feeling right now and the attitude, so as long as he can put himself in a good position, be consistent like he knows how to be, he can be a contender throughout the season, and you never know where the championship could lead you. You saw last year with Sansarillo, he was riding definitely better than almost everybody in the class. He got injured, and then Davalos took over, and then he got injured. So it's just a racing deal, and you have to make it to the end. It's not man and machine. It's got to be man and machine. You can't be one without the other in a championship fight. So that's why Vince has a good chance.
Oh, well said. You know, it's just listening to you say those words right now. You know, go back to that heat race. You get the whole shot, and you gapped everybody. You won. You know, and that was what,
Anaheim too.
Right, 6 or 8 laps. And how do we apply that to the main event? You know, you got the whole shot here a couple years ago and led this thing for 7 or 8 laps. You're this close.
Last year was 365 days ago, and I try not to remember too much about last year at this race because of the whole problem with Tickle, but that's in the past. You know, we're buddies now. We're always going to be buddies. It's just a racing deal that went down, and I'm looking forward to this weekend, get another good start, be up front, and put on a good show for the fans. Get that Smart Top Moto Concepts bike up front, and I know my Dunlop tires are going to be hooking up, so that's no question at all.
Absolutely.
Well, you talk about the Dunlop tires. Is it a 32 or a 52 this weekend?
Well, it's interesting. You can see the dirt as the people in the stands can see. The dirt looks great. It looks like it's got plenty of traction, but in reality, when we're riding, the track is actually very slippery. And the traction is gonna change as the night goes on. As they fluff up the dirt, you can see on the start straightaway right now, they're turning the dirt over. And as they do that throughout the process of the night and into the heat races, that moisture comes back up, the dirt is fluffy, so it's gonna be good traction. By the main event, you're gonna have to change the tires to the hard pack tires because it's gonna be significantly hard packed. So it's kind of like a chess match. You have to watch the traction and change the tires as the night goes on.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, especially when you go back down that starting line straightaway. As soon as you land there and grab a handful, you're lighting it up, the wheel's spinning, you're going, wait, where's the traction here?
It's like I said, you got to just play with it and see how the traction develops. I mean, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Some of the features we've had in our show today are talking about, the big races in the past here in Atlanta, 1989, 1990, and those old tracks in Fulton County Stadium. The tracks have been kind of different this year, it seems like. You've been at this since 2005. They're adding the split lanes. They've changed things up to evolve with the motorcycles. What's your favorite part of the track out there?
Me personally, I think it's great, how they're changing things up, because things get monotonous over years, and you have to change, and that's how it goes with life and people in general. Things change, people change, and I believe that's good for the sport because you're trying different things. You have to elevate the sport by changing things, and that's how you can make the sport grow and get bigger, and obviously different sponsors that come in, that's going to make the sport grow even more. So as the years go on, things will evolve and get better and bigger and stronger and faster.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Back at Loretta's, man.
I don't know. I've always said that I'm going to go till 30. I'm 27 in May, so I got a few more good years under the hood that I can still compete and be competitive with the guys. And I definitely think at 30 that's going to be about it. And but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If I'm still feeling good, injury-free, and still competitive and having fun and enjoying racing, I don't see why I couldn't go another 2-3 years.
Well, short term, what are your goals for the rest of the season? We're about halfway there. You've won a heat race. You got a top 10. What are your short-term goals?
Well, as of right now, I'm so far out of all the points right now because I missed Oakland with my knee injury. With tearing my meniscus, I had to miss that race. I had to go to New York to get my knee fixed and operated on, so I missed a lot of points there. And since I've been back, I really haven't had any good results because I've been crashing and doing, pretty much dumb things on the track. So I need to clean things like that up where I get a good start. I'm riding with the front guys, being consistent with my lap times, and being up front. So I definitely want to try and be back inside the top 10 by the end of the series. That's the ultimate goal. And as of right now, I just got to keep chipping away, and that's all I can do.
That's awesome. Like you've been talking about your team being behind you. Your dad's behind you too. Is he still helping you figure out things on the track and lines and stuff like that? Position?
He does have a big part of it, and the whole Smart Top Moto Concepts crew's been behind me, especially Mike Genova. He's a great guy, like I said, and I couldn't do it without that guy. He's a great person behind the scenes. He does a lot, and it's a privilege having him here at the track and being my team owner.
Absolutely. Well, it's exciting. We're going to have 2 of these races this weekend. We call it the Duel in the Dome. So, you got to look forward to coming to Atlanta and hearing the 65,000. We already got a lot of people here watching practice and qualifying. It's pretty cool. Are you excited to be here 2 weeks in a row?
I'm excited. Yeah. I know the Southeast is very excited to have 2 races in a row plus Daytona in 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now. So the Southeast is going to be a very, very busy place for the next couple weeks. And I know I've already got a bunch of people wanting to come down and ride my track in Hilliard. So, being a proud Floridian, I just am excited for the Southeast and the people involved because this is cool, having 3 races in a row right here. And there's nothing more exciting than Supercross, I believe, other than football. Obviously, that's pretty cool. But Supercross is the ultimate thing. It's exciting. It's gets that blood running, and the excitement of the level of racing. When the gate drops, you just never know who's going to win. Yeah. The excitement level, rises. You just never know what's going to happen. And that's what I love about Supercross.
That's awesome. All these thousands of people here to watch you. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Good luck tonight. And I want to see that hole shot tonight.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, we're going to be talking to Ricky Carmichael here in a little bit down there in Tampa at the Arena Cross. So stay tuned with this here.
I guess the air time is the only time you can really kind of loosen your grip a little bit.
Take a big deep breather and get your breathing back in check.
We don't like to get that high anymore. Obviously, it's way more fun to go high.
The quicker you can leave the ground and get back to the ground is ideal. There's a big difference between scrubbing and not scrubbing.
Scrubbing was pretty much invented by the legendary James Bubba Stewart.
The term scrub would probably be you're scrubbing off speed and in height.
We just kind of throw our bike off the face, like sideways.
The way you hit the jump, you kind of just slide off the lip and try and just soak up all you can.
You're pushing the bike through the jump, trying to keep it lower.
Hopefully lower than your competitor, and yeah, make your way as fast as possible back to the ground.
can only scrub or shave off so much time in the air, you know, until it starts getting a little bit dangerous off takeoff.
Oh, it can be sketchy. A scrub can go ugly.
You got to watch out not to catch a foot on the takeoff or a foot peg or anything like that.
You don't want to throw it to the point where you can't bring it back.
It's intense. I mean, whenever you're scrubbing and you turn a 220-pound motorcycle, you know, sideways, it takes a little bit out of you.
You get into the suspension, the farther it compresses, the more reaction you're going to get and the higher and further you're going to go.
Yeah, body placement has a lot to do with it, whether you're sitting or standing.
You know, in Supercross there's a lot of seat bouncing, you know, and that's literally sitting on your seat off the ramp face, and that usually gets you a little bit higher in the air.
Gassing it will speed the rear tire up, which will bring the front end up. So that's when if you're going to come up short and case something. But if your front end high, you pull the clutch in and tap the back brake, and that'll level the bike back down, bring the front end down to make the landing a little more smoother.
It is possible if you're going to come up short to kind of, you know, move your body a little to try to stretch it out and make it over the jump. And in Supercross, you're moving around a lot for time and stuff like that.
The bike is got to go where you want it to go within inches here, so you're definitely really engaged.
And welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Andy Boyer, Jim Hawley. I had a little trouble talking to Ricky there, but that's show business, folks. We're going to keep on rolling with it. Still got another guest coming up. Justin Brayton's going to join us here a little bit, but hope you've enjoyed the show so far. Once again, all you international viewers, you folks at home here domestically, send us some photos of you in your living room. Let's see your bike. Let's see your, see your garage. Hopefully it's not too cold. But hey, there's Ricky right there. We're back with.
What's up?
There we go. What's cold?
Is that better?
Yeah, it's never been better to
We
hear
can
your
hear
voice,
you.
bro.
There you go. All right. What's up, guys?
I think maybe Wes Kane maybe unplugged us there. He was.
I don't know. Something happened. Something happened, without a doubt.
It's good, man. Now, the energy's here good in Atlanta. You know, it's cold outside. It's warm in here. The track's really good. Gnarly set of whoops. Everybody's talking about them. But looking forward to a good show tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what? We're down here at the Amalie Arena for the AMSOIL Arena Cross Series and the Road to Ricky Carmichael's Road to Supercross. And I always love coming down here. And actually, we got the weather, guys. You're probably going to be jealous, but it's like 75 outside. Nevertheless, we're excited for it. The competition's amazing, and to see this young talent, these young riders come through the Road to Supercross program is just really cool. I know, like we were talking when we were having technical difficulties, Aaron Plessinger, I mean, that guy is just killing it. He's a Road to Supercross graduate, if you will, and to see it work for guys like him and him go out and produce the results that he has is very comforting. And it's a lot of hard work between myself, Feld Motorsports Group, just a bunch of people involved.
Well, something else I wanted to ask you, Ricky. You know, we're here in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia Dome here. You got your first win in the 250 class back in 1997, and something that I noticed, a lot of first-time winners here in the 250 class.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's Atlanta in the Georgia Dome always has a special twist, and you know, you're exactly right. That's where I got my first professional win of my professional career, and it was 1997. Riding for Mitch Payton, was it Splitfire Kawasaki at the time. So that place is special in my heart. It was always my hometown race, and you know, I'm bumming I'm not there, but at the same time, I'm glad to be here and for the AMSOIL Arena Cross. So, you know, I know for the RCH Soaring Eagle Jimmy John's team, you know, we got to get in front of that orange bike. There's no doubt about it. So, well, not us, our riders. So, I think you know, I'm anxious to see how that turns out tonight.
Well, and also, Ricky, you got to have a couple guys maybe in between to help you gain some points pretty quick. But like you said, if you guys can win tonight, maybe Dungey gets second, you're going to pick up 3 points. It's going to be back down to 9 like it was last weekend in Arlington.
Well, that's right, and it's so crazy. You know, you go back to San Diego, and you know, Dungey couldn't run with you know, with Canard and Ken, and then you go reverse to last weekend in Dallas, and no one could get on Dungey's page in the main event. So it's getting crunch time now. You know, obviously there's still a lot of racing left. What, 9 races left. So it's not desperation mode. A mulligan would be nice from the 5, but you can't count on that. At the end of the day, you got to go out and execute and win races. Let's just cut to the chase. I'm confident in our team. I think we got some of the best technical staff around. Very confident in that. And you know, a lot of people forget Ken's still pretty young. The guy's only 20 years old. So once he gets it figured out and gets all the learning, issues worked out, I think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and he already is. So nevertheless, it's going to be a dogfight, and I'd love nothing more than to see him get a win tonight and get back in contention to be in the points lead.
Yeah, we had Roger DeCoster on the show earlier, and we talked about that bike, him helping the development of the bike. Are you helping your team as far as developing the bike? Because I know you have a lot of experience, and, you used to work close with Suzuki when Mike Gosser was there and all the guys. Are you helping develop the bike a little bit?
That's where, I give a little bit of input. Ivan Tedesco is our test pilot. He's been a huge asset to our program, and along with our technical staff, like our engineers. We got several engineers. Mark Johnson, we all know the history that he has, and some help from Japan as well. So with everybody combined, like I said, I think the bike we all know is winnable. We've seen it happen 2 times, and looking back on things, coulda, woulda, shoulda, that we should have 4 wins by now. So the bike is good. I'll put it up against anybody's bike, and as well as our technical staff. So like I said, at the end of the day, when Ken gets all his, he's still young. When he gets all those bugs worked out, he's going to be dangerous. And it could start this weekend. The guy could go on a heater and knock out a bunch of wins.
Well,
so yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, look at where we're at here, and remember whose local race this is. I think that's going to help you guys get some separation. Davey Millsaps, he's starting to be in the top 5 in qualifying. He's running in the top 3 last weekend. Talked to him this morning, said he feels good. Looking at these 2 Atlanta races, if Davey can get in between those guys, it'll tighten it back up. Then go into Daytona, another Suzuki rider, Blake Baggett. You think that cat's going to land on the podium?
Well, I got to say, huge props to Blake Baggett. We all know Supercross isn't his forte. Right. And for him to come out in the premier class of Monster Energy Supercross, he's been doing really good, and he's straight up. So, hats off to him and how good he's riding that machine. But you're exactly right. Going back to, if Ken really wants to make life easy on him, it'd be nice to use guys like Davey Millsaps and Trey Canard and even Eli Tomac. We all know he can win, and use them as a pick to put in between himself and Ryan. But at the same time, like I said, you can't count on that. You have to go out and you have to win. And if it's only 3 points a weekend, it's only 3 points a weekend. But it's better than losing 3 points. So that's Ken knows that, and I think he was shaken up a little more than a lot of people really thought he was after Oakland, So anyhow, it's going to be exciting, man.
Now let me ask you this, Ricky. Down there in Tampa at the AMSOIL Arena Cross, who are you looking for to win down there tonight? I know you got some practices going on, but that's been a heck of a series down there with all those guys. Kyle Rigo, Gerke. I know that's got to be a favorite place for Matt Gerke down there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of people. It could go any way. You got Canary, Gerke, Blows, Jacob Hayes. I mean, all these cats are so fast, and they bring it in. It really comes down to who's the guy that can be the most consistent, who's the guy that can put themselves in the right position. Every time that gate drops, so they can be where they need to be to get the best finish at the end of the night. So really exciting. I'm going to tell you, the bracket racing is really fun too. So I'm excited, man. I honestly, that's what's so cool about the AMSOIL Arena Cross Series. I can't tell you who's going to win. Right. A lot like the Monster Energy Supercross Series. Do you guys know who's going to win tonight?
No.
Have no idea. I mean, you know, you can put them in a hat and just pick them out. But hey, something I want you to tell the fans down there in Tampa, make sure you tell them to come on up here next weekend on the 28th, and I'd love to see them here at the Monster Energy Supercross. The AMSOIL Arena Cross fans, make a road trip, come up to Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they will. You know, a lot of guys, this is a huge area for Supercross, and they're probably going to be here tonight at the Emily Arena, and then head up to Monster Energy for the second Atlanta round. That'll be tomorrow, next Saturday, the 28th, I believe, right?
You got it.
It's gonna be a special weekend for sure.
Well, Ricky, it's been fun to talk to you, man. Have fun down there in Tampa. We're going to be sending you some updates, me and Jim are, from the heat races and stuff, so keep an eye out for us. We'll see you soon, buddy.
All right, man. See ya. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, RC.
I'm Andrew Short with BTO Sports KTM. You're watching Race Day Live.
Hey, welcome back to the Georgia Dome. I want to welcome Justin Brayton to the show, man.
How we
Good
doing?
to see you.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good
Real
to be
quick
at the
before
races.
we get going, we're going to update these folks on Vicky Golden. She is out there right now in the 250C qualifying group number 2. She's got a 1:04 lap time. That's she's going to need a little bit more than that to get in the show, but she's trying.
Well, you can see on the screen there that Preston Mull doing what he did in that first group of practice there with a good time, 53.8 there. So a good time for him. But, you know, Justin Brayton, I got to ask you, we just talked to Ricky Carmichael. He's down in Tampa at the AMSOIL Arena Cross. You're a graduate of the AMSOIL Arena Cross before they had the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross.
Yep.
I think that's where you really honed in on your skills for Supercross as far as the whoops, because I got a chance to watch in some arena crosses and you were just killing in the whoops, and then you came to Supercross and it was an easy transition.
Yeah, for sure. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Arena Cross, I wouldn't be here today. And you're right, in Arena Cross, man, the whoops were so big when I used to race it. And what's funny is when I first started racing, I was on bone stock suspension, and we all know how that is through a big set of whoops. And I just had to figure it out, and my stepdad was telling me, oh, enter faster, enter faster. So I would enter faster and over the bars and try again. And then once I got on factory equipment or good suspension, then it was pretty easy for me.
Well, Justin, you had a rough start to your season. Update us. How are you doing right now? How's your progress? When are you going to be back on the track?
Yeah, so unfortunately at Anaheim 2, had a bad crash in the whoops, and there was a wall in the middle of the whoops that I smashed up against and kind of hit my back, like towards my left shoulder blade. Separated my AC joint, grade 3 separation, broke my collarbone, and also fractured my T5, 6, and 7. So
you look great.
Yeah, I feel actually, you know, fairly good, and it's tough to be walking around, and you know, when people see me, they're, oh, you racing tonight? I'm like, nah, unfortunately. So it's good to be here for sure. It's good to be in the mix and back at the races, but unfortunately it'll be another couple weeks. It's been 4 weeks today, so I went and saw a specialist this past week in Charlotte, and looking like another week or two, and I was kind of pushing on him, like, what can we do? Can I ride this week? And he's kind of laughing like, man, it's a 6 to 8 week injury for sure, you know, and there's no way around it. So unfortunately just got to be patient and just do what I can. I've been released to be able to train, which is cool. Kind of keeps me sane right now. But yeah, just happy to be here in Atlanta. And I actually transitioned the family last week back to Charlotte, so we're on the East Coast now. And yeah, I can't wait to get out here. The track looks really fun, and just can't wait to get back to racing.
You talk about that third grade AC separation. I've had a lot of them in my career, and I know how painful they are. I mean, you just, but how long after that, once you get on the motorcycle, and you've had injuries before, are you looking at, yeah, I got to get 2 weeks under my belt, I got to get 20 days. What's a Justin Brayton like before we see him out at a Supercross?
I think as long as I'm, you know, obviously trying to stay as fit as I can on the bicycle, in the gym, doing everything I can. And once I get on the motorcycle, man, I think a week or two. I think at most I would need 2 weeks, and because I don't just want to come back and just ride around. You know, I want to come back and really be at the front and be where I feel like I belong. Which, you know, who knows how long, but you know, I don't want to come back and force it and just be out there. So when I'm back at the races, I will be there ready to compete at the front.
Absolutely. You know, I know it's got to be killing you watching, you know, your teammate, Andrew Short, you know, he's pulling hole shots, getting top fives. And I know you guys pace each other on the track, and you know you can be right there. And, you know, your other teammate, Ryan Dungey leading the points, and then Marvin Muskin in the 250. So tell us a little bit about coming over to your new team at teambtosports.com.
Yeah, well, obviously the new KTM bike, the 450 and the 250 are obviously very, very good, and that's what I'm really chomping at the bit at is the bike is so good, and obviously the guys are at the front. I just want to be out there so bad, but so it's definitely testing my patience. But I had a great preseason. We did a lot of great testing on the bike. Me and Andrew, rode together a lot. And what can I say about Team BTO? Having Andrew as a teammate is awesome. We work great together. And Forrest Butler, the team manager, is great to work with. And being back with KTM's cool. It's been great to work with Roger and Ian and all the guys over there. And we're on factory equipment, so it's cool. And just looking to get back out there. And what's cool is I can't waver from the fact that I had a great preseason. That's still in there. So just got to get back as soon as I can and have a little bit of fun.
Well, and that's what I like about your team owner, Forrest Butler and the Butler brothers. I mean, I remember when I got into the broadcasting, they were racing themselves, and then they said, hey, what am I going to do? And hey, they love to give back to the sport, and let's start a team. And I know that Vince at BTO, that's a big contributor over there to sponsor the team out, and you guys are putting in great results, and now you're starting to see some of the factory support coming your way and getting the equipment, because from those old arena cross days when your stepdad telling you, hey, just go harder and do it. You need the good equipment.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely part of it. And I was just super excited about the new bike. When I transitioned to the new team, I was on the older bike, which was great. I was comfortable on it. Did Red Bull straight rhythm on it and had some fun there. And then once I transitioned to the new one, it was just awesome. It was like you just have so much fun riding again. After doing it so many years, it's still really, really fun. But there's times when it can get a little bit monotonous, and it just brought the fun out. And I feel like I can do anything on the bike. And you guys know how that is when you're on a motorcycle that you just feel that way on. There's nothing like it. So
I don't feel that way anymore when I ride. Trust me.
You did at one point.
Yeah, I did at one point, but I don't feel that way anymore. I mean, I get more upset at myself when I know I can do a triple and I don't do it. And I just go, wow, you know what? I got to stand next to Andy for a few hours, so I don't want to be in plaster, so I better just double single this thing.
That's right.
He still tripled it. He's just talking up a story.
I'm sure he did.
I want to ask you, like I asked Mike Alessi, look at the tracks this year. They've really switched things up. What's your opinion of it?
Yeah, obviously I only raced a few races, but it seems like tonight is very technical. A lot of whoops, which I'm chomping at the bit at. I'm like, a lot of whoops. I love whoops, but just real technical. And even last year, I felt like from 2 years ago to last year, they really changed them up, made them a lot more technical, really, really big stuff, built them up. And I think that's just going with the times. I mean, the bikes are so good now and so fast. I mean, we can go from a dead stop and jump pretty much any triple now, which is crazy. And I actually saw Chad Reed was on a two-stroke this week. He's like, there's no way we could make the triples on these things. So now with the four-strokes, I think they're doing a great job. The Dirtworks guys are doing awesome, and it's been fun to watch. The racing's been great, this year to watch as a fan. So.
Well, talk about what these guys are going through here in the 250 Group B, the final time that they'll be out there. We see Zimmerman, Ryan Zimmerman at the top there. We see Tucker. Tucker had fast qualifying the first time around. But what are some of these guys doing? And we see a lot of guys kind of rolling things, and the key is don't stop, because your fast time will be out the window.
Yeah, for sure. I think what the main thing is, obviously, you go the first time practice, you go back to the truck, you go over the track, and for these guys, they got to figure out where they are, because the top 40 only make it, right? So if you're 41st or 42nd, you're kind of chomping at the bit, thinking, man, I got to drop a couple tenths. And usually the last practice is faster. I'm not sure exactly if it will be here today. It looks like they actually changed the little section after the finish. They kind of added a steeper face, so the times will actually be a little bit slower this one. So for the guys that are on the bubble, it's stressful. But for the guys that are out front, it's kind of just open up the body. And for me, it was always big to not roll around, get the body opened up and do laps. Even if they're not really, really fast laps, just do laps. And that's what it takes in the race. Obviously, you can't roll around then. So get the body opened up, shake the arm pump a little bit, get the heart rate pumping, and go out there and lay some solid laps down.
Well, we're going to keep you on for a little while. We want to help get your opinion on when the A guys come up, what they're going through and stuff. And we see a lot of the guys go in and make some changes on their motorcycle. Obviously, they're just making some clicker changes and things like that. But right now, it's working for Owens.
Chase Owen at the top. Keith Tucker second. Ryan Zimmer third. Desiderio and Cartwright and Bollinger is your top six right there.
Yeah, I like Jace Owen. He's a kid from believe he's from Illinois, local, Midwest kid, and I think he's got a bright future. I rode with him a little bit at Club MX last year, and I look for him to put it in the main. He didn't get it in the main last week, not sure what happened, but I look for him to put it in there tonight and have a solid ride.
Yeah, Keith Tucker, too, he's a new kid with a lot of talent and a lot of speed. Came up through the Arena Cross Series again, last year doing those things. Tucker and Owen, they seem to be the heat here. They're about a half a second faster than everybody in this practice. Might be jumping up to the A practice next week if those guys keep it up.
Yeah, for sure. And in saying that and seeing your name at the top of the board, no matter what practice you're in, it's nice to see your name at the top and be the fastest guy. Whether, Jace, if he's fastest in this practice, he may end up kind of middle in the A practice, but still it's nice to see your number at the top of the board.
There's Nick Gaines right here in your screen, ladies and gentlemen at home. He's got a lot of speed himself. He had, he had it. He was leading the last chance qualifier last weekend and then went down in the whoops, but he might get that thing in the main event tonight.
Yeah, that was tough to watch last week. He had it too.
Yeah.
He had it the whole time, but hopefully he comes back and doesn't let it affect him mentally and can get up there tonight.
Well, and that's the thing. When you're out there and you're leading it, you got a thing. You go, well, I don't want to try to push it too much, but then on the other hand, if I back it off and I make a mistake, there's a fine line right there. And you don't know how many times we've seen so many guys in the last chance race have a spot at it, or for this matter, the guy's sitting back in 5th place and he's going, oh man, last lap, I'm not going to make it. Then all of a sudden 4th tries to pass 3rd, and those guys both
take each other out.
Now 5th and 6th got in.
Yeah, it's amazing, but you guys know the mindset. The last couple laps of an LCQ, if you're in qualified position, is totally different than if you're out, You're not even thinking. If you're just outside of qualified position, you turn the brain off and it's everything you have to go forward. But if you're leading it, and that's, I'm sure what happened to Gaines last week, he's just kind of like, all right, just cruise it on in. And that's obviously when things happen.
Yeah, and if you're in the back, like in the 15th or something, you're thinking, man, how am I going to get to the next race?
Yeah, exactly. Where am I going to have dinner tonight?
Right. I guess it's McDonald's tonight. That's it. I can't go get a steak.
Yeah. The track, what do you guys think of the track? Kind of a harder base?
Right.
Looks like the base is
they put a
coming
lot
up.
of water on it, and when I first got here yesterday, it was dry, and then they watered it. It looked like it was going to be pretty tacky.
But I got to interrupt you. I got to ask you, we see a lot of guys just kind of bypassing the whoops there. I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah,
it's practice.
Man, I've got mixed opinions on that. I think, if somebody's trying to get their breath back, but I honestly, I don't like it. I feel like you need to ride the track, even if you're taking a little bit of breather. Just hit the whoops, and you can't go around them in the race. That's for sure. And I was always a big, during practice at home, you go to local tracks and you're riding, and you see. Most of the time, if the whoops are gnarly, you see the line around the whoops, there's more guys going there, and I just never like that, even if they're really hard, and some people say they're dangerous or whatnot, but we race motorcycles, and if you can get through a gnarly set of whoops, you can get through any of them, right? And it just breeds confidence.
Well, and here's the thing about it, I'm like on the same page as you. It's practice. You got to try practice, and you got to try different things. And hey, you know what? If it's a gnarly set, you can go 2, 2, 2. Yeah. You're still getting to work out the upper body. You're still just to ride around them like that. And I know I saw some of the guys ride around. They got arm pump on the throttle side. They're trying, and that there, okay, yeah, take a breather because you got whiskey throttle. I don't want you to crash somewhere else. But or going to the mechanic and talk to the mechanic. Hey, I feel a vibration on the motor. Can you check it out? And you sure you got it? How about the air in the rear tire? Okay, I'm ready to go back out again.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, in the heat race and stuff, you're around people. So most of the time you can't go in the exact line as you did in practice. So I say surge, go left in the whoops, go right. You might actually find something that you didn't find before that's going to be good for the night program.
That's one thing we saw Marvin Muskin doing in practice. He was going inside, outside, both lanes, down the middle. And
that shows a lot of confidence for a guy to be able to just keep doing that lap after lap. It shows that they have something special, with their training and with their bike, they're really gelling.
Yeah, and that, like you said, like we talked about it earlier on the track walk, there's 6 or 7 different lines, but as a rider, as a competitor, if you can go either way, you're showing your other guys that, hey guys, don't matter if you're ahead of me, I can move left, I can move right, I can get by you anywhere in these whoops.
Yeah, for sure, and that, as a rider, if you feel that way, you're definitely excited for the gate to drop.
That was Luke Bollinger there on your screen just a while ago. He's sitting in 10th place, so he's looking to get to the night show with that run. This rhythm here looks like, you know, pretty technical. Triple, triple, double. But as the night goes on, we were just talking about the dirt briefly, that's going to get rutted out. We can see, like, looking down it, that's going to change up quite a bit, huh, Justin?
Yeah, for sure. It looks like the fastest way is definitely triple, triple, double. But, you know, I like double, triple, triple, too. You know, it carries your momentum into the corner. You can flow better into that right-hander, carry more momentum into the triple, which in turn helps you stay lower. Looks like Jay Sohan just threw down a good one, a 51.9. That's quite a bit faster than the rest of the group.
Yeah,
that's a good lap.
2 seconds faster, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, when you're out there in qualifying, when you come around and you look at the Monster Energy leaderboard and you see position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are you a rider that, man, I got to see my number up in that top 5 or I'm not happy?
Yeah, I am for sure, and sometimes that's kind of nipped me in the butt, you know, because if you're 6th or 7th, a lot of times you're right there.
You're just
a 10th or 2 off, but for some reason I like seeing the number 10 on the board, and you know, especially at the top. I mean, there's no better feeling when you come around, you're like, oh, I just drilled that lap, and bang, it goes right to the top.
It's exciting for us because we can see you guys. As soon as you go over the checker flag, you look over to check it out. So, you know, when we're up here doing a practice and qualifying show, it really makes us motivated to see you guys so stoked about it.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, you're like, man, I just drilled a lap. And if the 10 didn't pop up on the board, you're like, oh, man, I got some work to do today.
Yeah, man, that was my fastest. I didn't make it up there.
Yeah, exactly.
In our screen right here, we have number 449. That's Dakota Kessler. I wonder if he's
I think it's Mickey Kessler. It might be Mickey's son, Dakota Kessler. I think so.
Well, the checkered flag's out there in the 250B group qualifying number 2. That just leaves the fast guys, Jim.
That's it.
250A coming up next. And Marvin was the heat last time. No, it was Martin DeBalos was the fastest
right at
guy.
the end.
Right. So he nipped him there with the heater. But,
yeah, Martin had a 50.1 and then a 50.2 for Marvin Muskin there. So we'll see if they can drop it into the high 49s, the low 49s. I think they'll be able to do it.
That just makes Jay Sohan's lap look all the more impressive. You know, he was only, you know, a couple seconds off of the guy that won the main event last weekend. So good for him.
Yeah, and I think with that track change too, I think that slowed it down probably half a second or so.
Right.
But it was funny to watch the first day practice when Martin, you know, nipped Marvin. Marvin saw it on the board and he was going. There was only like 30 seconds left and he went to the finish and he hammered one at the end, but made a couple mistakes and didn't quite get it. But I think Marvin, he just looks so comfortable whether he's first or third on the board. At this point, I think, you know, obviously last week in Dallas he showed that he's kind of, you know, the one to beat.
Got a little talent, doesn't he?
See Matt Lemoyne down there, 43, kind of warming up, just kind of getting the blood going, just a little nervous there. And one of the AMA guys, not sure what he's doing. He's kind of telling the guys left or right, but
Lemoyne had a good ride last week.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He was riding really
banging
good.
on the door of the podium and slipped back to 5th. But you know, when you got a guy like that on a privateer team in this stacked class against all those monster teams, I mean, that's awesome.
I've always liked Matt Lemoyne. I think he's a great rider. And he's always just right on the bubble of making it and getting that factory ride. And I think somebody should give him a shot. I think, you know, put him on a Mitch Payton tuned bike. I think he'd be up there.
He rides a 450 really well too.
Yeah,
you remember just a couple seasons ago, he was, you know, getting in the top 10 and making main events.
Well, he had a podium last year, which was big for him. I think that was the first of his career. So, you know, he's starting out the season great right now. I mean, that was a fabulous race for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th last week.
Yeah, and I seen right before the red flag last week, Lemoyne was, you know, moving forward, and then the red flagged it, and it, you know, pushed him back to 5th. But yeah, he's riding good.
Well, let me ask you, in your career, you've had red flags like that. You've had to line up in single file. You know, what's going through a lot of the guys' minds when they're doing that?
Well, you know, you're in two different situations. If you're at the front, say you're top 3 and you got a gap on 4th, and, you know, you're just kind of like, all right,
You're bummed.
Yeah, you're a little bummed for sure. Because then it's like in NASCAR, you know, you throw the caution flag. Fans love it. I like to see it last week as a fan, you know, watching it on TV. But then again, if you're 8th, if you got a bad start, 8th, 9th, 10th, and you know you're not going to bridge that gap to the top 3, next thing you know, you close them off. Hopefully you can make a couple early passes, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, you just put something in my mind, because we're always trying to change and innovate. We talked about it off camera, Andy and I, you know, maybe do like the AMSOIL Arena Cross after, you know, 10 rounds or so, you restack them up, you do the points. But I'm thinking, I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm thinking maybe at the 10 lap mark, you line everybody up in single file and you go at it again for the last 10 laps. What do you think?
Right, you know, and we were talking about,
for it.
you know, like they do at the Monster Cup with 3 10-lap main events. That makes it pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You know, as good a shape as you guys are in, sometimes you get to, you know, late stages in these races and you don't fade anymore.
Yeah.
You kind of stay there.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I like the, you know, like you said, doing the 3 10-lappers. I think it would be cool. Anaheim 1, you do a 20-lapper. Phoenix, you do, you know, 3 10-lappers.
Right.
Then the next race you show up and do 4 8-lappers. Then
Nice.
the next one, and they have it made up, you know, before the season, obviously. Round 5, I'm doing this. Round 6, I'm doing that. And then, it, you know, one guy might be really good at sprint laps. So then that weekend you're like, oh, I got to watch out for him. And, you know, but he might not be good, very good fitness,
Right.
you know, like for the
Yeah.
20-lapper. And I even think throw in a 25-lapper. So every week's a little bit different, and we know the stadiums we go to that are going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter lap time.
Well,
Throw
you hear that
into a
noise in the
25
background.
lap.
There's the those guys are off and running, the 250A group. It's going to be exciting to see who's going to be the fast qualifier. Keep an eye out on Martin DeValos and Marvin Muskin, and I think Arnaud Tonis is going to sneak in there this time. And you know, that guy's pretty quick.
That's Vince Freeze. You're getting a chance to watch out there, and right behind him are going to be number 49.
The Rippa.
The Rippa, Jimmy Dakotas there. They both still opting to go to that. Hang on to it, Jimmy. It was dancing with him going through the whoops there.
What do you guys think, the split lane? What do you think's better? They're kind of going back and forth.
You know, Marvin, I mean, he made it look good in that first time practice. He was going either way, but I think the left favored him, but we'll see in this one. Maybe the right side of it's going to favor him.
You know, I think it's, you know, they did it last weekend. They were all the way over against the tough blocks, but that doesn't leave much room for error. And as these things cup out and stuff, if they pull you over into one of those tough blocks, you're going to be in trouble. But I don't know.
Yeah, you got to applaud Dirtworks for that too. It's really hard to get two lanes to be the same. This is going to be close.
Freezy making a little bit of a mistake there going through that rhythm section there. I'm not sure if, you know, he might have got cross-rutted, and once you get cross-rutted, you lose a little bit of your drive.
There's Zach Williams. Whoa, that was Zach Williams. Somebody showed him the inside line there, went and hit the triple. He's gone.
Yeah, it looks like the whoops are getting a kind of a V in the middle, so you'll see the guys start to migrate to the left and to the right. I think the left is probably, you know, it obviously sets you up a little bit better, but the right side, you know, late in the night, riding up right against the tough blocks, like you said, you know, not much room for air, but it's where the whoops are fresh. So all day long or all night, they're going to be searching for where the whoops are the most fresh.
Yeah, me and Jim did our stand-up piece for the, you know, at the beginning of our show. We always pick out one part of the track, and when we both got here, we were like, wow, let's go talk about that. You know, the dirt's going to break down. Guys are going to get preferred lines. There's going to be some exciting passes there late in the main events tonight, I think.
For sure, yeah, because obviously you don't want to follow. You can't pass if you're following. So if the guys are first or second or wherever you are, you're not going to follow the guy in front of you, and it's going to be a drag race down that section.
Well, there he was. Well, there he is. Marvin Muskin jumps up to the top early on here. About 7.5 minutes to go here in 258 group qualifying number 2. It's Marvin Muskin, Jeremy Martin, Martin DeValos, Bogle, RJ Hampshire. Let's go through the top 10. AJ Catanzaro, Matthew Lemoyne, Gannon Audette, Colt Nichols, and Kyle Cunningham are your top 10 right now. A lot of time to go. It's going to shake up quite a bit.
That's a good lap for Marvin, 50.5. He's on it, man. He's definitely the guy to beat.
There's a rookie there. I think that's Luke Rensland. Had a pretty good showing last weekend there. The Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha. Yeah, folks, DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of AMA Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes.
Yeah, not a bad way. You talked about Rensland there, Luke, 12th last weekend in
strong rookie
Arlington.
A lot of rookies, you know, Justin. We just see so many kids just coming and coming and coming. Out of Loretta Lynn's, coming from overseas. The talent just seems to be, and the parity is getting so thick.
Yeah, it's really deep. You know, no matter what coast you're on, you know, every year they say, oh, the West is deeper, the East is deeper. I think this year it's really close to even. Obviously, the guys Cooper Webb and them are going fast on the East, or on the West, sorry.
Yeah.
But Marvin and
look what Marvin's doing.
Guys like that, you know, on the East, it's there's some heavy talent, and And obviously for a guy like me in the 450 class, these guys are going to be there before long, and it's going to, as deep as a 450 class is now, it's going to be even deeper year after year after year. So it's getting tough.
Well, what I look forward to is Vegas, that East-West shootout. You talk about that. I mean, that is pretty cool, and bragging rights and things like that. I like that East-West shootout.
Historically, you know, my favorite East-West shootout race was Ricky Carmichael versus Kevin Wyndham. You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
And Kevin had Ricky's number, but Ricky wasn't going to let him beat him, so Ricky he stuffed him pretty good there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been some great East-West shootout races. Just that rivalry, because you know people talk throughout the year of, I think the East was better than the West, like I said, and then you show up and
put your money where your mouth is. Exactly. That race, yeah. Here's Martin DeValos here in your screen. Looks really good out there. Looks super smooth. Scotty Susquehanna hooked up.
Sitting fourth right now in the time practice. Tonis there. Oh no, Tonis in second.
He just crushed
that's
the
a
whoops.
good lap by Tonis, a couple tenths off of Marvin.
Someone losing.
Big crash at the end of the whoops there. I think that was
stuck underneath his bike, but Martin DeValos had to negotiate that around here. Here's that hard dry section right there where they go backwards on the starting line straightaway into that right-hander.
Good
a couple
corner.
ruts. See if that bumps him up a little bit. Third.
50.7.
I don't think they're going to have a faster time. I don't know. It's 4 minutes to go and 40 seconds. We'll see that first time practice, a 50.1 for Marvin Muskin there. So
that was Joey Savacci that went down at the end of the whoops there, Jim. Sorry to cut you off. I just noticed, you know, our third place finisher last weekend had a pretty big crash. He looks to be up and going. It looks like he's okay though. He's getting back on the track.
Looks like Freeze is on a heater right here. I'm kind of looking at it. He's down in you know, way back, 22nd position. He's got to bump it up. Let's see. That was nice there where you triple up and step off of that thing. Here we go backwards down the starting line straightaway into that right-hander. Let's see if Vince Freeze can bump up. I mean, obviously that 56.1. There he goes. He moved up a little bit. 18th now.
With a little under 4 minutes to go, it's Marvin Muskin with a 50.3. Right behind him is Arnaud Tonis, followed by Martin DeValos, Jeremy Martin, and Colt Nichols. Look at him go. A rookie.
Yeah.
Showing some speed there out of Oklahoma, man.
Yeah, I was watching him in Arena Cross last year, and I actually saw him at the Vegas Supercross, and I told him, I'm like, man, just keep doing what you're doing. He has some talent. And, you know, you guys know when you watch somebody, you can just tell that they have the style, and that's pretty awesome for him to be fifth. Look for him to have a good night.
There's Savacci. Yeah, he hasn't found his groove yet going on in this last qualifying practice. Where's we're going to try to locate him here. He's sitting 7th, which isn't too bad.
Oh,
probably got a little more in the tank though.
Looks like he might be going for a heater this lap.
Yeah, shredded that left-handed corner. You know, that's something I've seen. We talk about scrubs and jumps a lot, but all you guys have been working on your corners so much. That just blows my mind so much when you guys just go into a left-handed rut like that and just kill the corners. How much do you practice corners?
Yeah, I mean, I think for every racer, that's probably the most overlooked spot, right, is to work on corners, but it's the most important. Hands down, it's the most important. So a guy can be good in the whoops, like I've been guilty of it my whole career. Obviously, we want to practice our strengths. So you go out and, I'm practicing whoops, and I'm already fairly good in the whoops. So, you know, the past couple of years I've obviously gotten smarter and have been working on my corners. And, you know, how many corners are out here, and there's one whoop section, and there's a lot of corners you can be fast in. So
how do you prepare yourself for that? I know that when I used to ride, I'd go out and I'd just do figure eights, and, you know, a small figure eight, then I'd bring it up a little wider, a little tighter, a little bit bigger, but just, you know, lefts and rights, and just learning how to do it and getting a groove worn in. Learn how to get into that groove and braking and roll the throttle back on. And you guys still do the same kind of technique?
Yeah, for sure. And you know, here tonight, it looks like a lot of people are kind of steering with the rear a little bit in a couple corners, then a couple corners already. So you kind of got to have everything in your bag these days. Of obviously Ryan Villaproto brought sliding the rear end. I mean, he can slide the rear end unbelievable and just carry so much speed.
Trey Canard does too.
Trey Canard's really good at it. So when there's no ruts, how do you get through the corner fast? You slide the rear end and get around there.
I think maybe in their former lives, maybe they were dirt track racers, you know, backing it in, because you see guys like that, you know, Kevin Atherton, Scotty Parker, all those guys steering with the rear end.
Yeah. With about a minute to go, we've had a shakeup in the top 5. It's still Marvin Muskin with a fast 49.8, followed by Joey Savacci, who's up there at the 50 flat. Martin DeBallis is 3rd, 4th is Arnaud Tonis, and 5th is Jeremy Martin. Colt Nichols is still hanging tough in 6th, followed by Bogle, Matthew Lemoyne, Mitchell Oldenburg, and Anthony Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, he was up there last week.
Was riding good for a while, yeah.
Half the main, yeah, he was riding good.
He's got a lot of speed too. He just needs to put the 15 laps together, and he can get up there in the top 10, I think. Top 5 possibly.
Yeah. Savacci, that's a good lap.
It was.
I look for him to get in there. You know, he's never got a podium finish until last weekend, so that just breeds confidence all week. He's thinking, now I'm going to go get second or go get a win. So I think that definitely tonight look for something better out of him.
That's what Mitch said. I talked to him this morning, and I was like, wow, did Tonis really impress you? He goes, you know who impressed me? It was Joey. You know, he missed all last year, and he goes, and I could tell at the practice track his speed was about where Bowers' was, and Bowers was being the fastest out there in the West in qualifying at least. So when Joey went out there and got on the podium, he's like, you know, I think he really has a little bit more in the tank.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's showing it tonight. Today.
Number 74, Zach Williams on your screen here right now.
I think Martin's going to really be up there tonight too. He was bringing some intensity to those first couple practices, and I'm sure he is. You know, this practice, just knowing what your teammate did on the West, right? That's kind of motivating to know that he's doing all the winning out there, and you don't want to be second fiddle on your team.
Well, and I'd like your opinion on this. I thought myself, Jeremy Martin last week, not a bad ride at 4th. I thought he was a little timid. You got to remember what happened last week and here. Last year in Arlington and here, he didn't qualify. So I think maybe he was just a little bit hesitant.
Get the main event.
You see him here right there. It's going to be a different Jeremy Martin tonight,
Checkered
I'm sure.
flag is out, ladies and gentlemen, and it is Marvin Muskin, 49.8. That's the heat there in the 250. He's your fastest qualifier. He's only, he's won 3 out of the 4 qualifying sessions so far in the early season. Looks pretty good. Joey Savacci 2nd, Martin DeBallos 3rd, Arnaud Tonis 4th. We're going to be down to the podium here in a little bit with talk to Marvin. So let's see if how he's telling us how he's getting through the whoops and where his lines are. It's always fun to talk to him. He's a happy guy.
TM rider number 25, Marvin Muskin, setting the fastest lap time in this 250 class for the 2nd week in a row. You're the only rider in 250s to get in the 49-second range. How'd you do it?
Well, tracks were so technical. You gotta stay calm and hit your lines. I've been learning a lot, I've been pushing a little too much on the first practice, and now I'm getting better, It's good to have Ryan Dungey as a teammate, and we move forward together and with the team, so looking for a good night tonight and do our best and get a good start and get it done again.
Marvin, you're talking about the technical sections on the track. Tell me a little bit about the split lane and the whoops. Which line do you think is faster, and how do you have to adapt from line to line?
Well, yeah, it's actually the first time we see 2 different lines on the whoops, and I think it's pretty cool. There is options, and I feel like the inside is faster, and that's where everybody's going. So we'll see. They might change a little bit for the nitro.
Do you think that the inside's going to get a little bit chewed up and you'll have to go to the outside sometime during tonight?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's getting really rough in the inside, and the outside is a little cleaner, so we'll see.
All right, Marvin, congratulations. He's building off his picture-perfect weekend last weekend at the season opener for the 250s. One more time for this Red Bull KTM rider setting the fastest lap time here in Atlanta, Marvin Muskin.
And thanks, Ashley. Man, Muskin's killing it. But coming up, man, this is the most exciting part of our show, Justin. The 450, watching you guys, the 450A qualifying. You guys go for it, like we were just talking about. You guys want to get that gate pick. And as stacked as your class is, getting that #1 gate pick just sets the tone for the rest of your night.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a race within a race. Obviously tonight the 20 laps is what means the most. But
yeah,
this is what, confidence for tonight. If you're on the board or you're first, there's definitely some confidence there, and if you're down in 10th or 12th, you're thinking, man, I've got some work to do. So
pick it up.
It's definitely a race within a race.
No, it's exciting too. We got thousands of people already starting to pour into the main concourse here and getting behind them and making a little noise. So I think this is a good sign that we're going to have a really good crowd tonight. That's
Atlanta's
the theme.
always awesome. Yeah,
noisy.
I love coming here.
You know, Justin, something I wanted to ask you, you don't get a chance to really practice the start. I mean, I saw Ken Roczen over there kind of brushing off some dirt, kind of packing it, you know, a little bit. They're ahead of that starting gate. How important is it to kind of get out there and judge your speed going into that first turn from there?
You know, I think it's definitely critical, but there's two parts to it. I was always one that liked to get out in front of the practice and set the tone for that practice. And if you do that, you can't do a start. Or you can kind of do a halfway start, not really one that really matters.
Right.
So, you know, I always like to do one the very first practice when, you know, it's not time, so it doesn't mean a lot, you know. And so I would like to do the free practice, do a start, and make it count, you know, act like it's a real 30-second board goes up, and you kind of take deep breaths and do a start and judge that distance.
Who's going to be the fastest, Justin? Call it out.
Man, I think
I'll take Dungey.
I think Kenny. I think you know, I would take Dungey if you didn't take him, but because he's obviously looked great. But I think Kenny's coming here with something to prove, you know. And obviously Oakland, that crash he had was. I'm surprised he's even out here. You know, when I was watching on TV, I'm like, oh no.
He's lucky.
But I think last week was a stepping stone for him, and I think he's going to come out here blazing today.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that first go around a 48.6 for Eli Tomac. There's another guy that could possibly step it up. Trey Canard. All those guys. It's going to be interesting.
Goes on,
yeah. But hang on to it, Hill. He almost lost the front end there.
He's one who likes to take off first too and kind of set the tone for the whole day. But man, Josh has so much talent. I'm not sure what happened with him not making some mains, but he's fun to watch on a dirt bike, that's for sure.
There's Mike Alessi and Tickle. They said everything. Mike was on the show earlier. He said, we're buddies, man. What happened last year is in the past.
Yeah, that was a tough one last year for sure.
It's good to have Mike on the show. Great to have you on the show. Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is about the end of our program. We've got Justin Brayton here calling the 450A qualifying number 2. This is it. Who's going to be the fastest guy here in Atlanta at round 1 of the Duel in the Dome? There's Nick Schmidt in your screen right now.
Yeah, that was Nick Schmidt. It wasn't Tickle. I couldn't see the number 70. I thought it was a 20, but that was Nick Schmidt behind Mike Alessi.
You know, that wall jump going back onto the start straight, we've seen Eli Tomac several times in the past jump it. You know, he'll jump out, but I'm not sure. That one's a little bit steep, so I think once there gets a rut forming, it's a little bit lower. I look for the number 3 to launch out there.
Yeah, send it. Or wheelie over it. You know, they keep rebuilding it, but eventually that thing's going to wear down somewhere, and you might be able to manual that thing.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, get the rear wheel back down to the ground.
Somebody tall like Partridge there, right.
Well, and you're seeing some of the guys, if we get a chance, we'll try to get a good shot of the whoops on the right-hand side. That middle lane is kind of worn out and chewed out. These guys are moving to the left and to the right of that.
It looks like most guys are taking the right now, huh? But I look for that to change. I think later on.
There goes Chad,
There goes Chad trying the left.
Yeah, you can clearly see it on the screen now. That middle lane chewed out. These guys are going to the far left now, but not too many guys going to that far left lane, that complete lane out there.
You know, like we said, no matter what, you can make them as close as you want. One of the lanes is going to end up being faster than the other. And what's going to happen in the main event, you know, that one will be clogged up, switch over to the other one and try to make some passes.
And with so many guys going in that fast lane, obviously it gets cupped out. And then, you know, the guy who Chad Reed's really good at this in the main event, he'll take a line that no one did all day and it ends up being faster, you know, at lap 10. So look for him to maybe switch it up tonight.
Tomac does the same thing, Jim. You remember in Anaheim 2 when they had the split rhythm section and he started taking the inside line. Nobody had used it all night.
Ended up being really fast.
He started reeling guys off, Jason Anderson, you know, talk to us about Jason, Justin. You know, he came out and got a second place. Then he's kind of settled in around the top 10. You think he's going to have some spark and get up into the top 3 again?
I think so. I did a lot of riding with Jason, you know, with Husqvarna being, you know, we rode their track and they would ride the KTM track and things like that. And he's got a lot of speed. I think, you know, first year on a 450, you know, we expect a lot out of him because he was champion last year, obviously, on the 250 West Coast. And but I think so. I think he just hadn't got the starts lately. I think the starts are so important.
Crucial.
But I look for him to get back up there.
Well, and here's the other thing you had mentioned, West Coast champion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's only ridden on that West Coast. These are all new tracks for him here, and he's kind of got to adapt to some of these tracks. Maybe this weekend here, we got the Duel in the Dome. He comes back next weekend. He knows the dirt. Hey, I got a race under my belt here. I look forward, you know, for him next weekend in Atlanta here to really step it up.
Yeah, and another thing in saying that is important for the fans to know is he's raced a 6 or 8 race series. So now you got to worry about one getting sick, the weather change, all the travel. There's so many things that go into a 450 class rider that you know, not just the racing.
Right.
So they've got to really keep an eye on
travel.
that.
There's your teammate.
Yeah, Shorty's been riding good. Bike looks awesome, and top 5 last week. Look for him to get up there again. And how about those starts, man? He's just been ripping
Banging
the
hole
starts.
shots.
It's been really cool
know,
to watch.
Man. Well, early on here in the going, our top 5 is Ken Roczen, followed by Trey Canard, Ryan Dungey, Weston Pike, and Cole Seeley. We'll go through the top 10 here early on. 6th place is Eli Tomac, Chad Reed, Jimmy Albertson jumping up in there, Brock Tickle, and Kyle Partridge are your top 10 so far.
You know, you talk about Andrew Short. He had a 5th last weekend, and he had a 5th to open up the season. Not too bad for Andrew Short.
Yeah, he unfortunately had that crash at Anaheim too. He had a big hematoma on his leg that kind of set him back, but I think now he's healthy and ready to go.
And if you're ready to turn the corner, check out the National MX Champion Yamaha YZ250F and Super Nimble YZ450F at YamahaMotorsports.com, or go see one at your local Yamaha dealer.
You know, you get a chance to watch Kenny Roczen here. It kind of looked like he laid up like a possum, you know, just kind of slow, rolling things, you think. But he's actually just kind of getting a good, clear track ahead of him. And we'll see. I don't know if this lap will be a heater, but maybe the next one.
Yeah, maybe just looking at a couple lines, trying to figure out what's fast and what's not. And
tell you what, we got to give it to you, Justin. That's who you called out.
Yeah, I think you know, the beginning of the year, he seemed like he was the guy that could maybe be the one on the next level, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, he's got what it takes for sure.
So that's a 49.3 for him, but a 48.6 in that first time practice for Eli Tomac. You know, we always see this shot here, and we see the signboards, mechanics go out. What are they giving you, just lap times?
Yeah, a lot of times just lap times, and maybe if somebody jumps something different, you know, if somebody jumped a quad or they're going triple double, or whatever it may be.
So they just put quad out there, and you'll know what they're talking about.
Yep.
I just saw Trey Canard quad out of that section at the end of the woods.
I saw Seeley do it too. It looked fast, looked really fast.
Okay, now let's keep track of Trey's lap here. He's definitely been on a heater. He's coming up to the checkered flag here, but I know you folks at home aren't watching that. I just happened to notice it over Justin's shoulder. And what did he, 49.4, not quite. Really close right there, 1/10 of a second between him and Roczen. And look at Chad Reed jumping into 3rd place there with the 49.7.
Yeah, but I know that, Justin, you can attest to this. When you do a section like that quad at the end of a whoop section or whatever, and yeah, the time was okay. It was a 49.4. But you're really focused on that section because you're trying it for the first time, and you kind of lose a little bit somewhere else. We're going to have to keep an eye on Trey's time, because now let's see if he can put the whole thing together.
I'm telling you, I haven't had my eyebrows raised in a while, and I saw him coming through the whoops. I'm like, what is he doing? And man, seat bounced it and just jumped. He's checking it out right there, Canard is. Made it look pretty simple, but it was really fast.
Yeah, that must have been something the Honda guys had up their sleeve, because I did the same thing, Andy. I turned my head and I saw the 14 of Seeley do it. Whoa, my jaw dropped.
Well, let's take a lap. A lot of times, though, Justin Brayton, you know that you do something and you don't want to do it again. You want to keep it in the back, and you hope that the other factory truck drivers did not get any that on film, but I'm sure a lot of people saw it. Look, he's talking to his mechanic there, and he says, should I do it one more time? I think he's going to go on a heater right now. Let's see what Trey Canard does.
Love watching Trey ride. It's kind of scary sometimes, but he always has his elbow up, super good style. And when it comes to scrubbing, I mean, look at that.
Well, he's pushing it. I mean, you know, you got to know your limits, and let's see what he does here. And
looks good.
I like how he doesn't leave the door open there. You see how he kind of made that a nice
really
sweeping
good
corner?
Watching here. Let's see if he does it again. No,
rear wheel broke.
in his way.
The rear wheel broke loose coming around that corner before he got into the whoop. He lost a lot of his drive.
And the bad part about that is...
hang on, Trey, hang on, Trey, hang on, Trey.
What was I just talking about?
Yeah. And like you said, Jim, you can be thinking about that section the whole lap, and then when you don't do it, it messes up the whole lap.
Yeah,
so
you see, that just, you know, played into his mindset when he went around there. He's going to pull over here, maybe talk to his mechanic and go,
get a clean set of gear.
I don't know. No, I'm going to try one more time, maybe.
Actually, Trey jumped up there maybe
jumped up to the
not sure, maybe the last lap that
might have been
a little bit delayed, but that's
the
fast
fastest. That's the fastest today, a 48.6 with Tomac that first one, a 48.3. Now.
I don't know if that's when he rolled around the whoops or something, but that's a full second faster than everybody. So I don't know. That looks kind of fishy to me. And we're talking about tenths and hundreds.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that lap will hold up or what it is.
We'll have to see.
Well, with
there's a good lap with Millsaps right there. He just went through the whoops, blitzed it.
Give you a rundown of the top 5 here with 5 minutes to go. Trey Canard, we think, followed by Tomac, Weston Pike, and Cole Seeley, Ken Roczen. That's your top 5.
Get a chance to watch Weimer right now. That was Weimer who went through the whoops. It looks almost identical to
Reed.
No, Millsaps. I thought it was Millsaps.
Right.
He had a good fast time going.
And there's Top Jimmy right there, out there getting it done on his privateer Yamaha.
Jimmy Albertson, he's made a few main events. He actually hole-shotted a while back, but some good ride for Jimmy Albertson. He's made 5 main events. Sitting 22nd in the points for Jimmy Albertson. He's got 19 points.
How about Pike up there in third? Riding injured, riding with a torn MCL and a messed up foot. You know, there's something to be said about that too, because one of my best seasons, I was riding with a broken leg.
Yeah.
And you know, it just kind of takes the pressure off, the weight's off your shoulders, and no matter what you do, you know, it's going to be okay because you obviously have the injuries, but sometimes just helps you ride better.
Yeah, it's weird. I've seen you guys, when you're really sick, you can barely talk, and then you go out there and have your best race of the season.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works out like that sometimes.
Well, I got to go back to, that was when you were riding for the factory Honda, and you know, you had podiums that year. I think.
Had like 7 podiums that year, and that was a pretty good one. I think back to here in Atlanta that year, Cole Seeley's first fill-in ride for them. He led 7 or 8 laps that night, so I think he has some good mojo in this building, and look for him to get up there with a good start tonight.
Well, the checkered flag's out, guys. You know, I was looking at the timer on top of the monster finish line, but it's stuck. So that's it. It looks like our fastest qualifier. If that's a real lap, Trey Canard killed that right there. 48.3. Tomac's followed with the 49.2, then Weston Pike, then Ken Roczen, and Cole Seeley rounds out your top 5. Rest of the top 10 is Ryan Dungey, Chad Reed, Brock Tickle, Jason Anderson, and Josh Grant. Josh Grant's another guy. You know, he got up into the top 10 last weekend, and he's had a slow start to the series. You know, he kind of has a nagging foot injury, but like, he's got talent. Like Josh Hill, if he gets a good start, Josh Grant's a guy that can bust into the top 5.
Yeah, I think so. And in a technical track like this, Josh has so much talent and just a technical rider. So.
Factory Honda HRC machine of Trey Canard, 48.3 I think was the number on that one. It went blank for a little bit. You didn't even know where you were till maybe the last lap or 2. You put it down there.
Yeah, no, I tried to put in a really good lap. It was a little sketchy out there. It's pretty ruddy and some dry turns, but everyone's making mistakes, so just trying to put in good, clean laps, and hopefully tonight get a good start and try to have some fun.
You know, 2 wins this season, only a couple stubs of the toe. I think a 7th a couple weeks back, but the last two podiums tonight could be a good night for you.
Yeah, no, we just keep trying. You know, that's the biggest thing, is just give our best effort, and you know, hopefully we'll be up there fighting with those guys. You know, we're doing our best, and you know, hopefully give you guys a good show.
You know, normally it's Anaheim that we go time and time again. Atlanta, 2 in a row. It's got to be exciting for a rider.
Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite places. It's where I got my first win, so you know, it's awesome to be here.
It's like a coming home of coming homes. Let's give it up for the 41 of Trey Canard.
And folks, welcome back up here with Justin Brayton, Jim Hawley, and myself. That was pretty exciting, you know. It's a different perspective from up here than behind the handlebars, huh?
Yeah, for sure. It's good. You see so much more, you know.
Yeah.
On the motorcycle, it's kind of one-dimensional, but then that's what the video is for, you know. Obviously, Trey doing that quad.
Yeah.
Hopefully the guys from the other teams, you know, got it on film, and that looked to be the difference. I mean, that's a fast lap. Trey's on it today.
Well, you had a good perspective being up here with us. You're going to go down and tell Andrew, hey, Andrew,
oh, yeah.
maybe you can
check
pull
this
that
thing out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be down there telling him for sure.
Well, coming up next, we have our Toyota Tailgate Talk that Jim Hawley did last weekend with the good folks over at the Legends and Heroes. Please enjoy it.
Well, welcome to this week's Toyota Tailgate Talk. You're looking down at the Legends and Heroes bike stand. This is a WR400, a 1974 Husky that's reborn, and I'm here with Alex Moros, the inventor of the Legends and Heroes, you and Mike. But Hey, this thing's pretty mint.
Oh, it's a great bike. You know, the WR was a fantastic bike when Hudson came out with it in '74. It gave me fits when I was riding my Mako, and I'll tell you, it was really a light, competitive machine based on some really cool stuff and innovation back in the day.
Something else that you did, you talk about back in the day, Lyle Lovett. He just received his award from the Legends and Heroes in Dunlop. I know Scott Wallenberg with Racer X gave him a nice plaque to hang his guitars on there. I saw a Rockwell watch you guys gave him. I mean, that's pretty cool to honor a guy like that. I mean, he's a big enthusiast.
Yeah, he is. You know, he started playing in the clubs in the mid-70s, but he also, at that time, he was a racer. And a lot of folks forget that he played the amateur game with all of us, racing on a Penton and on a Husky, and then got involved in the music industry as a celebrity with his first album in the early 80s. But the coolest thing about him is that he's the best ambassador you could have for our sport. I mean, Lyle Lovett, he's a moto aficionado. He loves the sport. He's here when he can be with his busy schedule, but he always stops by, especially at the Legends and Heroes Tour setup. You know, the museum was busy all day today. Lyle came over and he was just in awe as he went through the inside of the tour of the history of Supercross.
You mentioned some of the bikes that you have. I mean, talk a little bit of this 2015. You've been doing it for a while, but each and every year I go by, I see more and more things in that trailer.
Yeah, you know, we had Doug Henry's bike, which was the first bike to win a Supercross in Vegas. And then earlier this year, through our friends at Tom White and Tim Mullen over at KTM and the Motocross History Museum, there was this 1997 KTM that was going to be sold. Now, we took possession of the bike this weekend, but that was the first KTM ever to make a main. It was raced by Lance Smale, and it was a factory bike. And it's the coolest thing that we've added to the collection. We got it this weekend, and it's really neat. I mean, people were just buzzing around at the aluminum tank and how heavy it was, and you know, but it's a great piece of history to know that at Daytona that was the first one that made the main.
Well, and the other thing you're doing also, you're helping out Gannon Audette. I mean, I saw Gannon Audette earlier today. He looks good, but I mean, you're not only giving back to the sport and preserving the sport of Supercross and motocross, but you're helping some of the young riders.
Oh yeah, Gannon's a great kid. You know, we were approached last year to help a guy get back into the sport after 2 years of injuries that took him out. You know, two-time amateur national champ, and he had a great ride with Yamaha. Then he came to Dallas and broke his wrist. Next year he came to Dallas and broke his femur, or his hip, I mean. Last year we came back not expecting much. He made the show and finished 16th overall. And this summer he came back and said, Al, can you take the bike out? I'd like to do Supercross again. Started training, and you know, he's going to be ready tonight. Hopefully the show and the main, and we're just so honored to be a part of our next realm of honoring the future legends in our sport by helping the heroes that are out here racing today.
Well, you heard it from Alex Moros, the man who runs the Legends and Heroes. Well, that's it for this week's Toyota Tailgate Talk. Make sure you check us out on Race Day Live on supercrosslive.com.
Hey, I'm Chad Reed, number 22 of the Discount Tire Tucci Motorsports Kawasaki team. Welcome to Race Day Live.
Jim Hawley, Race Day Live, brought to you by AMSOIL. Well, Jimmy Dakotas, man, I'm a little bit bummed out last week, man. That 15th, I'm not having that, man.
No, I'm not having that either. You know, last weekend was tough for me. Overall, just, you know, last year I didn't feel like I was as good a shape as I am this year, or as prepared as I am this year, and I actually was doing better. I think because I was a little bit laid back and stress-free, and last weekend I kind of put too much pressure on myself, I think. So this week I'm just kind of going into it like I did last year and just letting it all happen, not really examining the track too much and overthinking everything, just letting it all happen and letting it come to me, and I think that'll be a big difference for me this year.
You know who else was disappointed? Your girlfriend Jamie back there, and I noticed you brought her on the track walk. You're probably trying to distract some of the other competitors, right?
Oh yeah, of course I am. That's the plan. Definitely.
Now, I know last year, I mean, you were in the hunt, I thought, you know, Detroit, I think it was. Yeah. I think, all right, man, Jimmy's going to get his first of his 250 career in Supercross, and he had some problems there. But, I mean, this year I was looking, I'm going, man, that 15th, I go, but what can you do here differently in Atlanta? I mean, I know we got back-to-back Atlantas, duel in the Dome here. I want to see, you know, baby steps first. You got to get in that top 10, top 5, and work your way up.
Yeah, that's the goal this weekend. Honestly, a top 8, top 7. That's that's where I was last year. I think that's where I should be every weekend. So just get there this weekend, have some better practice times, and just let it all come to me. I ride a lot better when I'm carefree and stressless. So I'm just going to go out there and just enjoy myself on my dirt bike. I did press day Thursday and Friday, so I know what I'm in for right now, and I know the dirt, and I got a good setup this weekend, and I'm just excited and thankful that I have all the sponsors behind me help me out this year, and all of us know without our sponsors we wouldn't be out here doing this.
All right, well, hey Jimmy, you got a second? Come here for a second. This is your girlfriend. I just wanted to make sure Jimmy took care of you. Last weekend I know he didn't take care of business on the track. He got that 15th, but did he take care of you on Valentine's Day?
Oh no.
No, he didn't.
See, you didn't even take care of the girlfriend. You didn't get the riding done, and you didn't even get the flowers for the wedding.
Exactly.
See, that's the problem.
I let him have an extra day. I said, you know what, today's your day. Valentine's Day can be tomorrow. So we hang out the next day and watch movies and stuff.
Mine and your days today in Atlanta, right? We want that thing in the top 5.
Definitely, top 5, top 3.
Or something's going to happen, buddy.
I know. Thank you, guys.
Andy Boyer with Race Day Live. We're here with Matthew Lemoyne. One of the big surprises last weekend, man. You had a really strong main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there and did what we needed to do. The result wasn't exactly what we wanted, but been working hard in the off season and looking to better that position this weekend.
Well, tell us about your team. You had a couple good starts, man. It seems like you got some ponies under the gas tank.
Yeah, for me, I think the start's all mental. Like if you go to the line and say, hey, I'm going to get a good start, I think, that's when it comes. And just a little bit more prepared, a little bit ready to race, this year. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And, the bike's good. Everything's good. And just trying to get out front early and avoid all the carnage. So if I could do that, we should have some good results.
Andy Boyer with Race Day Live, presented by AMSOIL. We're here with Vicky Golden. Vicky, you made it through last week, man. How does it feel? A little bit of weight off your shoulders?
Definitely. Last weekend was a lot. I mean, we had a lot of press. It was just a lot to take in. This weekend was a little, mellow in some parts. We still had a few fire drills and just still a little crazy, but feel a little more relaxed, have a little bit more time to kind of calm down, and we actually did a little suspension testing, kind of get ready for how the track deteriorates. So that was a big thing we kind of underestimated. So, we learned a lot last week, so we're just going to keep learning each weekend, and plan is to get it done tonight, or today, I guess, and just get in for that night program.
Well, you kind of picked a juicy part of the series to jump in because these things have been pretty technical. Last weekend was pretty technical, and this one is. Does this one seem a little bit more mellow, or how do you feel on this weekend track compared to Texas?
Texas it was pretty gnarly, but, I felt good on it. I just needed to put everything together, and that's kind of where, the arm pump and, all the nerves came in. But overall, I felt good. I just needed to clean it up and put it all together. So here we just got to do the same thing. I think the more technical it felt better, and everyone even said the triples were big. Everything was a lot bigger, and I felt good. If they downsize anything, I guess we're good from there too. So it's just going to be a matter of keeping calm and putting in and riding how I know how to ride.
Yeah, it seemed like at the end of your practice, you were going to go for a heater right at the end, and somebody crashed, and you can kind of tell you're like, you just need a clean track, right?
Yeah, that last seed practice, honestly, really, there was almost no point in me even being out there. I mean, I felt really good initially, but, just both lights were on the triples. We weren't even able, I think I got 1, maybe 2 laps, and then once they red flagged it, we got about 3 or 4 minutes. That part, it was just all me, just choking up and pumping up, and just couldn't get it done because of the pressure of the 4 minutes to do it. So we just got to relax. That's all it is.
Well, we thought you rode good. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Race fans looking for a bike you can win on right out of the crate? Then check out the Yamaha YZ450F and national champion YZ250F at YamahaMotorsports.com today. The DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of AMA Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes. And AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil delivers maximum horsepower, bulletproof wear protection, and consistent clutch feel for the confidence you need to get on it, get after it, and stay out front. AMSOIL, out front performance. Visit amsoil.com/dirt bike to learn more. And here we are back in the Georgia Dome. Been a great show. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you all the international viewers and everybody out there. We hope you've enjoyed yourself. Well, it's that time, man.
Got to do the picks. You got them down?
I do.
Go for it. 250.
I got to go first again? All right.
Well, I'll go first.
All right.
I'm going to go with, I think, Marvin Muskin. I think he's going to do it again. I think he's going to get back-to-back wins. KTM has never won in the 250 class here in the Georgia Dome.
I think they're fixing to.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Muskin. I think second, I think I got to go with Bogle again, and I think Jeremy Martin's going to slip in there on the podium. I think that's
good
my
picks. Good picks, man. I forgot about Bogle. I'm going to go with Marvin. He's too strong right now. He looks amazing. You know, he's really on it. He was flying in qualifying. I think Jeremy Martin's going to, you know, stand up and have a good main event. Maybe battle Marvin a little bit. So Marvin, Jeremy Martin in second, and third, I think Martin Davalos. And he might surprise even more than that. Martin's been fast all day, won this event last year. That's my top three. What do you got for 450s, bud?
Well, you know, our old buddy Kurt Benke, you know, we got to give him one little shout out here. But he's going to go with Dungey, Canard, and Roczen. That's going to be Kurt Benke's top. My top, I think I might go with Canard winning. I think the Honda's going to do it. I think Dungey's going to be second, and a little bit of a question as you see Canard and Dungey there. And then I think I'm going to go with Ken Roczen, but although he did have that crash at the end of the whoops in that final time practice.
That's right.
We don't know.
A little update for you, but we don't know.
Yeah. Steve Mathis gave us a little inside information there and said
speculation
he might
have an injury.
But I'm sure he'll battle back. He's a tough kid, so those are going to be my top three.
Pretty good picks, Jim. You know, it's tough every week for the 450
Tomac
class.
could be up there. Reed could be up there. I mean, you know, there's so many guys.
I haven't picked this guy to win all year, and I'm going to go with Ryan Dungey. You know, look at his pedigree here in Atlanta. He has 2 wins going back to 4 seasons ago. He's his worst finish in 4 years here is 4th with 2 wins. He won last weekend. The diesel's rolling, man, and that's his nick. I'm going to keep calling him that the rest of the season. So I think it's going to be Ryan Dungey in second place. You know, I might have to switch this on the heels of the recent information we just got, but I think Ken Roczen's going to be second if he's healthy. Now, we had a pretty nasty crash that we're getting tidbits of information about what's going on with him. But if he's healthy, I think he's second place. And I think Davey Millsaps is going to show up at his hometown race. His hometown fans, he's won this event before in 2008. I think Davey Millsaps is ready. Get on the podium.
Wow, you left off Trey Canard with a 48.3, the fastest. I think that.
Well, he almost crashed, too.
Well, hey, he's right at that line.
No,
who knows?
I gave you a hard time for leaving the diesel off last weekend, and it's just tough. You know,
well, correct me if I'm wrong, though, but if Marvin Muskin and Dungey win, I think that's going to be the first time that KTM's went back-to-back wins in the 250 and the 450 together. I know they've done it before when, you know, Kenny Roczen was on 250 and Dungey was riding that 450 for KTM. So we'll see. But, hey, we want to thank everybody for watching us, and we want to thank some guests, right?
Yeah, thank all of our guests for coming. Justin Brayton, who just killed it with us up here making the call for qualifying. Roger DeCoster, what an awesome experience having the man up here with us on the show. And also we want to thank Mike Alessi. We want to thank Adam Enticknap, all of our guests. We want to thank our sponsors, Yamaha, DC Shoes, MMI, AMSOIL. You know, we couldn't do this without our sponsors. But, hey, look at the crowd funneling in behind us, man.
But you're forgetting about one of our guests that we're on, the greatest of all times, the GOAT, Ricky Carmichael. We want to thank Ricky Carmichael and all the people down in Tampa at the AMSOIL Arena Cross
Atlanta, baby. ATL. It's the Duel in the Dome. Round 1's coming up here on Fox Sports 1 at 7 p.m. You folks better tune in. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you here again in Atlanta next weekend.